Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Jim Cornette Experience. It is me, it is James E. And we're here today to talk about all kinds of stuff in the world of professional wrestling, including one of the greats has retired, has ended his career. We're going to talk about that. We're going to give you some background on the early years of wrestling's greatest thespian. And you've wanted to see us together. Well, now you're going to hear us together. Dax and Cash, FTR, an exclusive, full-length, in-depth interview right here on today's Experience. And joining me to do all this and so much more, Hawaiian Brian, the podcasting line, the king of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network, Mr. Co-host to you. He is Steve Mongo McMichael's wrestling trainer, the great Brian Last.
Aloha, Jim. A pleasure to be here once again. And I'm guessing that means you saw that new Steve Mongo McMichael Twitter account that's popped up in the last week.
I know it is. Oh, my God. Oh, you know what? The only thing it's missing is
No, please.
All right, I won't go
Mercy.
there, but no. There is a new Twitter account. It's at That's Our Mongo. And it is all the footage. I never saw this stuff first run, a lot of it. Because during the Attitude Era, when I was living in Connecticut, 96 to 99, I would tape all the shows, but I would just zip through both ours and the opposition to see some specific big happening. Because like then as now, I didn't have a lot of free time, and I didn't want to watch it for entertainment. And then, obviously, when I was here in Louisville, it was the last couple of years of WCW. But my God, I don't know how long Mongo's career lasted. I got to study up on him. But these are clips of every fuck up and foul up. And I mean, one time he fell. Was it Kevin Sullivan that tried to shoot him off to give him something, and he fucking stumbled across the ring and fell through the ropes and straight to the floor?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
But just all these clips of this stuff at That's Our Mongo. I have no idea who's doing this. This is not a paid plug, but it's hilarious. And I remember Flair's talked about him, and they all loved him because he was a great football player, apparently. I'm not a big football expert, but apparently he was a big time football player. And as far as being in the Horsemen, he fit as a personality outside the ring. You know, he was prime Horseman material outside the ring and in personal life, going out in the club, whatever. But he didn't get it in the fucking ring. And my God, it's been my only amusement on Twitter, as I'll get to in a second here over the last few days. But you got to see that. Anybody that this could be the biggest Twitter account in all of wrestling, because Steve Mongo McMichael, and we're going to use this term later on in the program, had the worst case of happy feet ever. Happy feet are when a guy has had no training or just is not a natural in the ring, just has no idea what he's doing. You know, it's the epitome of a guy that's trying to imitate shit that he's seen on television. He doesn't really know how to do it. And one of the side effects of that is happy feet, as it's called in wrestling training school, or used to be. I don't know about these days. But the old timers, I bet if you go to Tom Pritchard's class, I bet you'll hear about happy feet. But that's when no matter what you're doing, if you're in a headlock or you're holding a headlock on somebody, your feet are always moving. They're moving back and forth, or they're moving up and down, or they're moving more often than they need to be. Or if you're getting shot off, or you're shot to the turnbuckle, or you're just running, hitting the ropes, doing a crisscross back and forth, you're taking extra steps. Your feet are moving in different places. They don't stop. Even when you're still, your feet are still going. And they get in the way of things and people. And Mongo McMichael had what I would call the most terminal case of happy feet I've ever seen in anybody in a wrestling school in my life. And that's why he was always falling the fuck down. So if you go to and you watch these clips, and anytime his feet are visible, you can learn what happy feet is in a proper wrestling training program. But you know what Twitter's done to me, don't you? I've got the old Twitter or the new Twitter now. I'm stuck in the new Twitter.
Oh, you were fighting that for a long time.
Well, yes, I got a thing where you I don't know the technical terminology, but you typed in and you clicked on it and it would install whatever the fuck that the old Twitter was when they changed the layout about a year ago, maybe, or even more. And Twitter looked completely different and all the shit's in a different place and it looks like shit and I hated it, right? So I had this old Twitter on my computer because as everyone, I guess everyone knows, we got a lot of new listeners. I tweet on the computer because I don't have a smartphone. As a matter of fact, I heard from one of the fine crack legal assistants in the new law office, the law office of Stephen P. New, 888-692-8084, that I'm a dream client. Because you know how you hear about whenever they do discovery in these lawsuits and they gather the evidence, they subpoena all of the text messages that you've sent and the emails and the Facebook and all this stuff, the way people talk now. And they say that I'm a dream client because I've never sent a text message in my life. I have no smartphone. I don't know how to use Facebook and never intend to learn. I rarely email and never about anything sensitive, and especially to somebody I couldn't trust. And basically everything I've got's handwritten, rolled up in a tin can and buried in the backyard. So but anyway, I go on Twitter here a couple days ago and it says this no longer supports this platform. Click here to learn more. Well, I don't want to learn anymore because I won't understand it anyway. But the point is I can't get my old Twitter back. So now, the new one is unwieldy. It's clunky. The shit's all over the place. It doesn't look the same. I hate change. I can't get it when I'm looking at it because I'm looking for the other shit. And so I've missed a lot on Twitter the past few days because I don't have the patience to look at this ugliness now. Normally Twitter is only ugly because of content, but now it's ugly visually. So if I'm missing anything on Twitter, I apologize. Why did they do that?
They're always tinkering with these things, with social media. You get used to the way Facebook looks or the way Twitter looks, the way they operate, and then they change everything up on you.
Well,
sometimes they give you a warning, like we are going to be going to this new one. You could test it out now, give it a test drive. And if you don't like it, you can go back to your old one for the time being, and then you'll have no choice.
Well, my choice is, how about just take your thing that you're tinkering with and shove it up your ass? Because until they outlaw papers and pens and pencils, I can communicate just fine. So I know what I'm doing. Speaking of papers and pens and addressing envelopes and things, should we go ahead and get the merchandise update out of the way?
Sure.
Let's right at the top of the program here, because I want to, if you have been a customer of Cornette's Collectibles, and so many of you have, at the website that we do not name anymore, buying any of the products that we no longer mention, because it causes too much chaos. If you ordered anything domestically from the United States, the contiguous United States, as well as Alaska and Hawaii, from through Wednesday, May 27th, everything is in the mail except for those of you who ordered those pesky large DVD sets. I won't name them. It might give some people ideas. But if you ordered the large DVD sets, they're going out on Monday, June the 8th. Everything through May 27th. International orders through May 27th. Are shipping this coming week, the week of June 8th through the 12th. And I've just heard, I got the scoop when I was last over at the post office from my girl Bree, customs is backed up because of the pandemic situation. I just heard from one customer that actually got their package in England 2 months to the day after it was shipped over here. So if you order from this unnamed website, some of these products that we won't talk about, domestically, allow 2 to 3 weeks. By the time I get it, turn it around, get it to you. Internationally, things are dragging, so be prepared. But things are looking as good as these things can look. You know, this has got to be the strangest marketing campaign in all of fucking wrestling, maybe even in all of life. I don't mention the website anymore. I don't talk about the products. I discourage people from ordering. and I tell them it's going to take a while, and I can't keep up with the orders. Fuck, this stuff is good. I don't know how to do it any other way. By the way, the cakes are just flying in the door here at the castle now.
Get out of here.
I'm not kidding you. Long-standing cult member Joni Aries out in Washington State. She works at a grocery. And she sent me a celebratory cake, but she knows that I'm picky. So she made it a do-it-yourself cake. She got 2 cake layers from the bakery, white cake, like I like it, and she put them in a plastic thing, and then you know how they have those big, like 1-gallon squirt things of icing in the bakery at the grocery where it's a big bag and it looks like it's an IV ready to be hooked up and you squirt it out the bottom? She sent me that and a Hershey's chocolate bar with "here's your celebratory cake" written across the back of it to go on top of it. So a white cake with white frosting, a gallon of white frosting, so I can triple frost everything, and a Hershey's chocolate bar with a fine and heartfelt message of congratulation to go on top of the cake. A do-it-yourself celebratory cake. Thank you, Joni.
Do you like pie?
I like pie. Wait a minute, this ain't a rock routine, is it?
This is not a rock routine, no.
My favorite pie, I like the what do they call it? The lattice the crumbly cinnamony lattice apple pie.
Dutch apple pie?
That Dutch lattice apple pie thing. Yes, the Dutch apple. I like those. Plenty of cinnamon, some vanilla ice cream on the side.
What did you call it? Lattice? I've never heard that before.
It's a lattice, Lattice. The strips, like a lattice work. The strips of the stuff instead of just a whole crust on the top. Strips across.
Gotcha.
Yes. I like those. I like lemon meringue pie. I like Derby pie.
What's that?
You can only get that here in Louisville. Actually, the bakery, Kearns that invented Derby pie has it trademarked. Everybody else in town has to sell like thoroughbred pie or racing pie or Kentucky pie or because they can't call it Derby pie. It's like it's kind of a graham cracker crust with pecans, I believe, and there's a chocolate. I don't know how they do that. It's like a big old pie, but it tastes like a big old chocolate chip cookie. And it's melty in goodness. Derby pie.
What about pumpkin pie?
I don't like pumpkin pie. I'm not in favor of pumpkins. I like pumpkins to be carved, not eaten.
Is it because they wanted to put one on your head? Is that why?
That's well. First, when they insinuated that me and the Midnight Express, the Road Warriors and Ellering did, that we were pumpkin heads, and I had to hear that for months and months. Pumpkin head, and then Ole tried to put a pumpkin on my head. There was something about me, WCW, and pumpkins. I'm not a pumpkin fan.
All right.
But I'll tell you what, all this talk about dessert has got me hungry for dinner. How's that for a segue? And you know where you can get dinner this time for Father's Day this year? Omaha Steaks. America's original butcher since 1917, and he's old and tired, but he still does good steaks. You can only get steaks like this, folks, from Omaha Steaks. And now we can even save you some money. Father's Day is coming up. You might not be able to go out to your favorite restaurant. You might not want to go out. You don't want to get dad a tie or a gift card or whatever. Steak. Not only steak, but chicken, pork, burgers, easy to make meals, desserts, all kinds of stuff. Brian, you were laboring under the misconception you could only get steaks from Omaha Steaks, and you can get so much more, including Applewood smoked steak cut bacon, 8 slices per pound.
Yeah.
Even you can't fuck up bacon, Mr. Pizza French Toast.
No, the other day I had to think about what to get my father for Father's Day. I had a couple gifts in mind, and one of the ones was I decided to do Omaha Steaks. Go to the website, you put the promo code in the search bar, and it comes right up. And the first option there was the package that includes the bacon, and I instantly got jealous. I was thinking, is it okay to buy one for myself? Is it ridiculous to buy myself a Father's Day gift?
No, it's not, because nobody else is going to do it for you. And if they do, they're going to be using your money anyway.
That's true.
Because they're all either minors or dependents. So go ahead, get yourself some goddamn bacon for Father's Day, folks. Anyway, and you mentioned a promo code. Well, by gum, the promo code for Omaha Steaks here on The Experience is JCE. And if you put that promo code in on some of these great packages, you can get free shipping and or a free 1 pound package of the thick cut bacon. Anyway, the point being, there's a variety of packages for Father's Day. You go to omahasteaks.com. You enter the code JCE in the search bar, as you said, and you search through the packages of various things. They have burgers, franks, sausages, premium poultry and pork, side dishes, family meals. They even have those artisan desserts.
Artisan.
Well, those two. Anyway, folks, make Father's Day simple this year. Send Dad the gift he really wants, or Dad, just go ahead and get it for yourself, because you know nobody loves you as much as you do. And bacon. Free shipping, free steak cut bacon with select packages. omahasteaks.com. Type the code JCE in the search bar and get to shopping. Searching and shopping and staking. I'll stake my reputation on these steaks.
I was buying all this stuff for my dad, and I'm thinking, I deserve this. I try to eat filet mignon once a week, but I never have it in the house ready to go. I have to order it.
Oh, wait a minute. You try to eat filet mignon once a week, but you never have it in the house.
I never have it in the house.
You're in the middle of the fucking global central for pandemics. Why would you eat anything unless you have it in the house? You going out to get a fucking filet mignon?
Well, now with Omaha Steaks.
Be starved for fine dining.
Well, now with Omaha Steaks, I could do that. I could have it in the house ready to go, and I may have to do filet mignon and bacon at the same time and see how that combination works.
Well, and you know what? In this case, you can have your steak.
Very good.
Remember, was that an old song? But was it? Oh my gosh, maybe it was Homer and Jethro. The two guys that were singing about one girl name was Kate and one girl's name was Edith, and they fell in love, and then all of a sudden they fell in love with each other. Well, you can't have your Kate and Edith too, you rascal, you. Oh-de-lady-hoo.
I do not know that song. I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, you can't have your Kate and Edith too, you rascal, you. Oh-de-lady-hoo.
Do you think anyone still names their children Edith? There are some names that are just wiped out. Like, you don't see a Murray anymore. When was the last time you met a Murray?
My aunt was Beulah. You don't see Beulah.
No, that's gone.
Greta? Well, maybe Greta Thurstenberg, but she's from the actual original Greta country over there. You don't see your Ethels, your Ediths, your Henriettas.
These names are gone. Now they're naming their kids after characters on Game of Thrones.
I used to know this girl named Henrietta. Every time I went over to visit her, I'd sit down on the chifforobe and I'd look over at the Davenport. Anyway, there was a big retirement this past week in wrestling. Did you hear about this? We've lost one of the icons, one of the legends.
No.
Did you hear about this?
I actually have no idea what you're talking about. No.
Ron Gronkowski.
Oh.
Ron Gronkowski has left the wrestling business, told the WWF, tear my contract up. I guess it was too tough for him. He's back in the NFL where the little boys play instead of the big boys like in wrestling.
I think that's the perfect place for him.
Did he drop the belt?
I didn't see this, but I did see a tweet that said, I think R-Truth pinned him in his backyard. So I assume that was the end of his title reign.
All right. Well, boy, I was going to be upset there for a while. I didn't want to have to cut a promo on Ron for leaving the business without doing a job on the way out. Because, I mean, I know, he said that he was going back to football and maybe one of the football players could beat him on the sidelines. Well, that would have been okay for a prestigious title like that. But I didn't want, the title lineage to be interrupted when he told the WWF tear his contract up and he was done with them. What did they get out of that whole thing besides a goof on their TV for 2 weeks?
I don't know if they really got much. I mean, it would have been one thing if it wasn't during the pandemic, maybe, but he came out on TV dancing with Mojo Rawley. He was the host of WrestleMania for whatever that's worth. I mean, we discussed that. What the hell is a host of WrestleMania? What do? They shoot you to a segment every now and then. He did get the 24/7 championship. I don't think he ever defended it, but it is a bullshit title to begin with.
No, now, wait a minute. Now, how dare you say something like that about the prestige? It ranks right up there with the Western States Heritage Championship as one of the most preeminent and respected championships in all of professional wrestling.
That's another questionable thing that Dusty did in 1988. The Western.
You know why? Because, well, here's Dusty was a fan of the Old West genre, the Cowboys, the John Waynes. And at the time, he was told by Jimmy Crockett that they were going to be expanding out west. That's when Crockett, was putting together the wrestling network, wanted everybody to move to Dallas. We haven't talked about that in a long time. He was wanting the guys in Charlotte. He said the whole office, he moved his office to Charlotte to get away from the rest of the family, or to Dallas, to get away from the rest of the family in Charlotte, I'm pretty sure. But they were talking at one point like all the guys were going to have to move to, and I'd already lived in Dallas and moved back to the South, and I was happy. And this is going to be bullshit from the start of it. And then when they started running California and Albuquerque and all, et cetera, Dusty came up with the Western States Championship to be defended out west, and Heritage, because Heritage sounds good with one of those old Western commercials where Wilford Brimley tells you that the fucking catheter he's using won't cut your fucking dick up all the way. Heritage is a word that would be used in a commercial like that. And it just all came together to make magic. See how positive I'm being, Brian?
Yeah, I'm glad they had that. I think it was maybe even defended at the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, Long Island.
Yeah.
Notorious Western State location.
Started going to New York, and they took the Western, and we wrestled the Southern boys in Baltimore. And that worked, though. But as you can see, this is why wrestling should have been regional, folks. But in addition to losing Ron Gronkowski, I don't know that the business will ever recover from that. Also, all petite wrestling, or what do we call it these days? All friends wrestling. Well, it's not all friends now. They've actually got some talent in the company besides MJF. We're going to be speaking to him later on, FTR, here on the program. So I can't say it's all friends now because FTR made it clear they're not particularly friends with anybody over there.
Yeah, plus it's only all friends until one of the EVP sends out an email. And then some feelings get hurt every now and then.
It's only all friends till the feelings get hurt, folks. But somebody else has been excommunicated from AEW, outside the circle of trust, no longer welcome on the premises. A person that's been literally synonymous with All Elite Wrestling since their formation. They have banned Linda Hogan from coming to any All Elite Wrestling events, which is like me banning Donald Trump from dinner at the castle.
Yeah, what a interesting little attempt at getting some points on social media that was by Tony Khan. You are banned like your husband is from All Elite Wrestling. Congratulations. Like she's ever heard of All Elite Wrestling. Like she has any idea what the hell that is.
I have several thoughts on this. One, a lot of people said, they would fucking roll out the red carpet if Hulk Hogan would deem it appropriate to make an appearance in AEW. And unfortunately, those people are wrong. No, I legitimately believe, because for one, Tony Khan's father is a billionaire, as we've mentioned many times, and they don't need the money. And these other guys are getting paid guarantees regardless whether they draw anything or not. So the guys wouldn't want Hogan, because then they could say, we turned Hulk Hogan down because we're big shit, because it wouldn't make any difference in their bottom line. The increased gate that would result from Hogan being on any one of their events would not add any money to their pockets, like in the old days when the guys had been clamoring to have a name like that on a show. The billionaire promoter is, unfortunately, the smell of his farts has fucking swayed his mind to where that he says, I'll just tell Hulk Hogan he can't come to my wrestling event. And since his dad's a billionaire, he doesn't need the money. But a lot of people have said, Cornette, if in Smoky Mountain Wrestling, if you could have got Hulk Hogan, would you have booked Hulk Hogan? Are you out of your fucking mind? If Hulk Hogan would have come to one of my events for a price that I could afford and conceivably make a profit on, And he would have been motivated to do so rather than just been showing up for the money to stink up whatever he might have done. If he actually wanted to come for what I could pay him, I would have booked him in a heartbeat because he's the biggest star in the fucking business. You do something, you get something out of it. So, but Hulk Hogan is barred from All Elite Wrestling because he would never come anyway. And now Linda's barred from All Elite Wrestling.
It's so stupid.
Because she would never come anyway, and they would never want her. Because I believe I've mentioned to you that without mentioning any names, a person that I know and value their opinion and trust them as far as their word and what they would say and or exaggerate, spent quite a bit of time around the Hogan environment and said that she is batshit fucking nuts. Batshit fucking nuts. And of course it was a bullshit tweet. And you would think, even though they broke up, and I don't know which one, if either one of them came out the babyface, you would think after what happened to him, she wouldn't go on and on about the Afro-Americans rioting. They were Afro-Americans when Clarence Williams III was still starring as Link on the Mod Squad.
Yeah, the last time I remember hearing that term, I think, was at the end of Malcolm X, the movie. Like that, I have not heard that used. Like since then, I have not heard anyone say that except for Linda Hogan, who, by the way, isn't even a Hogan anymore.
Well, she was never a Hogan, but she was only an honorary Hogan while they were married. But how about this? Clueless, middle-aged, fucking plastic surgery, fucking addled, privileged white woman who married her way to fucking millions of dollars. How about that?
Sounds accurate.
Shut the fuck up, Linda. But she's banned from AEW, so that'll show her.
Well, but again, that's where it gets stupid. That's where it's Tony Khan trying to get some points on social media. I know AEW had a couple of rough days with fans jumping on Jericho and pointing out Cody's old burner account and some of the things he liked and focusing on some of the Young Bucks' alleged political views.
Well, hold on. And I didn't know anything about it. Cody having, and the burner account is the one where you adopt an assumed name so nobody knows it's you, right?
Right, although it was like Prince CGR. I mean, it was like basically his initials with the word Prince, which only the son of Dusty Rhodes would anoint himself that.
Well, mine is going to be Notorious JC then. But now I've heard. Do we have confirmation? Because obviously the Road Warrior Buck and his brother Balding Buck have blocked me on their Twitter machine. But I keep having fans say, or people say, boy, how can the people excuse these fucking right-wing tweets from the Young Bucks? They were birther fucking nuts, and they're, right-wing lunatics. And I have not seen this stuff. How do we know this is a fact so that we can condemn them for it?
Well, first of all, I don't believe they're on Twitter anymore unless they have burner accounts because they had a big hissy fit. I think after the notorious Dark Order episode at the end of 2019, and they got off Twitter because they couldn't handle the criticism for that dog shit that aired. What I have seen is old tweets. I think one of them actually was one that one of the Young Bucks liked. That was a tweet by Chris Jericho years ago, where he said, "I just saw a guy in the airport that looks like Barack Obama. I wanted to punch him." I may be paraphrasing a bit, and I'm thinking, what does that mean, a guy who looked like Barack Obama? A black man in a suit? Like, what the fuck does that even mean?
Maybe he saw The Rock, because The Rock is the closest looking one to Barack Obama that I've always thought he should play him in a movie.
And, Chris Jericho got some heat, apparently, this past week again.
Not that you would want to bring up Chris Jericho getting any heat or anything.
Well, this has been something people have talked about. I haven't seen it because I'm blocked by Chris Jericho. I have been for quite some time, a few years now. But apparently, on one of his social media accounts, he responded to a Black Lives Matter comment by saying all lives matter. And that's just fucking ignorance. Just shut up. If that's really, if you respond to Black Lives Matter with all lives matter, please, sincerely, go fuck yourself.
Go fuck. Well, you always respond to a tagline that is meant to bring awareness to a developing ongoing problem with a basically simple fucking statement like, yes, of course, all lives matter, you dipshit. But since the ones in jeopardy that are being fucking taken currently are the black lives, don't fuck with their fucking tagline. Because we're not talking about you right now. You're fine. I don't think that, and maybe Canadian lives matter. He's from fucking Winnipeg, even though he's got the dual citizenship. Maybe he's having a problem. I don't know. I want
to announce that Chris Jericho is hereby banned from my backyard. He's not allowed near the pool or the swing set or anything. Chris Jericho banned from my backyard.
Hey.
Congratulations.
No, but here's the thing. You need to ban Matt Hardy from your pool because he will jump in there and come out a completely different person.
I hereby ban Matt Hardy from the premises of Last Manor. In perpetuity. He can never, ever come. Ever. You're banned, Matt. Sorry. Congratulations. Who else could I ban that was never going to come anyway? Linda Hogan, by the way, you're banned. Just want to throw that out
there. There's a joke there about people that are never going to come anyway. But here, let me read something, because a lot of people have been saying, oh, we understand, JC, you don't want to watch that show anymore because of your blood pressure. I'm going to make an exception when our guest today on the interview, FTR, actually see some competition. I will watch their matches, but a lot of people say we understand, but goddamn, at the same time, we enjoyed hearing you express and espouse the opinion that we have of AEW, that we don't have the platform to express our opinions. We feel the same way, but you do it in such a way. We want to hear this, but I don't want to fucking punish myself. So I swore it off after the football field fuckery, but I got an email from Francis, the soulless Francis, by the way, because Francis is a member of those of us who have no souls because we didn't enjoy the effort that was put on at the football field. But anyway, I got an idea because Francis is talking about the television program and had some observations, which I will read. And, I had a real good idea for about 5 minutes, Brian. I thought, well, why don't, instead of me having to watch this fucking horseshit dog and pony show every week and ruin my week for everybody's entertainment, why don't I give the cult a crack at it, where we could have a segment where every week a different member of the cult of Cornette could send in their thoughts on the AEW television show. So it's not just like that I'm just blistering them for the same thing over and over and they don't learn. So it is the same thing over and over every week they're doing wrong. But it would be another wrestling fan getting a chance to give their perspective and talk about how that they hate AEW for what they're doing to the wrestling business also. And I thought that would be a good idea. But then I realized if we announce something like that, then we're going to get 5,000 people to review this program. And who's going to read these emails? Because I already get a couple of hundred emails every day and I don't read half of them and I can't answer almost any of them. And that brought me back down to reality. It'd be a great segment if we had a staff of possibly even a Rod and a staff. You used to have a Rod. I've seen it. Did you ever have a staff? Nevertheless.
I don't know how to respond to this.
Well, but we need a staff so that we could have a contest where the fans can review AEW so I don't have to, and then I can just read it and commiserate with them. But don't do it yet, folks, because we don't have a staff. So I'm not going to stay. And I don't even tell people where to email me, and they still figure it out. So, but anyway, Francis says, Jim, I did it again. I tried to watch AEW. Maybe it's because I have no soul and don't know any better. I saw they had Jungle Boy versus Cody, and it honestly grabbed my interest. Boy, do I regret this, and here's why. What the fuck is Jimmy Havoc? This fuckwit, oxygen-polluting twat. And I know the people over across the pond say that I say twat wrong. It's supposed to be twat. But here we say twat. And I've been talking about twat since I was a teenager. What the fuck is Jimmy Havoc? This fuckwit, oxygen-polluting twat. If he is on international TV, then that means the same logic gets me in the WrestleMania main event, doesn't it? Seeing as neither of us have any wrestling talent to speak of, I don't see the problem. Also, Why the fuck is AEW allowing Havoc to hit someone with a wrench, but then have the same guy fucking kick out? Apparently this happened on a program since I swore this off. And then have the same fucking guy kick out. Then in the same match, this guy swings a hacksaw. What the fuck? Then later on in the same show, having Colt Cabana not kick out of an elbow by Jericho. Am I the only one confused here? Is an elbow now more dangerous than a wrench? Thanks kindly once again, the soulless Francis. P.S. My wife is still rolling her eyes at me for trying AEW again. So it's now not rock, paper, scissors, it's fucking elbow, wrench, hacksaw?
I don't know. I mean, for the record, I believe Chris Jericho's finisher is the spinning elbow. I think he calls it the Judas effect.
Yes.
I can't speak to the wrench because I did not watch that, and I probably wouldn't watch a Jimmy Havoc match. And, I don't know about having the listeners submit their reviews. I'm not so sure. It's
that I was about to talk us into a lot of paperwork, wasn't I? But speaking of paperwork, before we get to our interview, which is coming up shortly, this is somewhat of a lengthy email, but it has some actual real reflection on the formative years of the greatest artistic wrestling thespian currently in the arts today. And I won't mention anyone's names here that are writing this email just in case. But apparently, as we will find out, Kenny Olivier has done numerous shoot interviews knocking Harley Race and saying that Harley Race didn't like him and he had no idea why. So if you are one of these people who listens to the simpering sound of that Neanderthal voice and the dull-witted, bland comments that he makes, and you've heard this, here's more to this story. Are you ready for this, Brian? Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I didn't know Kenny Omega rips on Harley Race. I didn't know anything about this.
I didn't know it either till I got this, but apparently it is indeed something that he has done. Dun, 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 dun. Are you ready for this? Hello, Jim. Kenny Omega has said in numerous shoots that Harley Race didn't like him and he didn't know why. In the course of recounting this story, Omega has enjoyed mocking Harley, portraying him as an uneducated old man. Well, I have the full story to set the record straight because I was one of the trainers at the 2005 Harley Race camp that Omega attended. As mentioned, Omega attended the 2005 Harley Race Pro Wrestling Noah training camp that was also attended by Johnny Ace, who had come to see Kenta Kobashi. The first drill that myself and the other trainer ran on day one of the camp was a simple spot to attempt to gauge the ability or lack thereof of the 50-plus guys and girls attending the camp. The spot was lock up, take the head, shoot off, tackle, drop down, leapfrog, hip toss, get the head back in reverse. That's a standard warm-up spot in a lot of wrestling seminars. Omega was in the ring with one of Harley's guys, Dakota. When the two got to the leapfrog, Omega ducked when he should have jumped. The two collided, and Omega busted Dakota's nose all over his face. Harley stopped the spot and yelled at Omega, saying, 20 people have already run this spot before you two. Why were you not paying attention? After we ran through all the guys, there were two groups formed, beginners and advanced. The beginners I took to a separate building where we worked on more basic stuff and spots. The advanced stayed in the main building and ran practice matches. Harley picked Omega to be in the beginners group, not just because he messed up the spot and hurt someone, but because it was obvious at that point he was self-trained. He rushed everything, went 1,000,000 miles an hour, and had what we called happy feet. Please see the top of the program and or the Twitter feed at That's Our Mongo for more visual illustration of happy feet, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, back to the email. It was obvious to us if he was allowed to work matches in the camp on that day, there was a high probability he was going to hurt someone. When his name was called to go with me to the beginner's class, he immediately went to the head trainer and asked if there was a mistake because he thought he was better than most people there. Steve told him no mistake was made, that he needed more work and needed to slow way down before he would be allowed to work matches for us. Kenny was under the assumption that because he could throw the prettiest drop kick in the camp that he knew how to work. Therein lies the problem of a lot of indie guys. During the course of the camp, Kenny was allowed to work matches, and Johnny Ace liked his personality, not so much his work. Of course, remember now, 2 of Johnny Ace's proteges in OVW were Mark Jindrak and Sean O'Hare. So there you go. Laurinaitis has been a talent picker from way back.
He also signed the wrong one-legged man.
Signed the wrong one-legged man, yes. And he got the divas for an entire generation out of lingerie catalogs. But anyway, during the course of the camp, Kenny was allowed to work matches, and Johnny Ace liked his personality, not so much his work. This immediately went to Omega's head, and I'm sure justified his reasoning that he was the best guy at the camp. This was basically our only interaction with Omega back in 2005, all except Harley's wife, BJ. BJ was a great lady, who found out weeks later that Omega had falsified some of his paperwork to obtain his wrestling license for the state of Missouri. That might have been from being one of those Canadians. I hadn't thought of or heard of Kenny Omega after that camp until he started turning up in Japan and doing these shoots that insulted Harley. Harley mellowed out a lot in his later years, but it's a shame that 1970s Harley never showed up to confront Omega on the crap he had been talking. But I mean, at that point, Omega had been in the business for a whole 4 years or so, so of course he would know better than an 8-time world champion. I mean, Harley Race never did a cross-legged fisherman neckbreaker. What does he know about talent? Signed, name withheld. And one Harley story that was a PS. This is Harley Race. He says, another time I was riding with Harley. He said he was in Denver one time, and 4 guys jumped him after the match. This would have probably been back in the AWA in the 60s when he and Larry Hennig were a team, right? They were the hottest heel team in the company.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's no footage of them as a team. Apparently, they were fantastic together.
Yeah. Well, Harley Race in his fucking late 20s taking bumps, and Larry Hennig, young. Oh, my God. But anyway, he was in Denver. 4 guys jumped him after the match. He couldn't shake them, so he grabbed the nearest one. This goes into what we were talking about here a couple weeks on the program and what the old timers used to say and do. He couldn't shake him, so he grabbed the nearest one, stuck his thumb under his eye, and popped it out. He then turned the screaming man around to his friends, who freaked out and ran away. Harley said he then used the one-eyed man as a human shield to get to the dressing room. He then threw the guy aside, slammed and locked the door behind him. I'm telling you. Everybody's like, what the fuck? All these fucking stories about what if all these old timers were fixated on fucking eyes. That's what you did in the riot. I was told this 40 years ago when I first got in the business. If you can't get the balls, go for the eyes. And they used to be able, they had the fucking, I mean, it doesn't, if you know what you're doing, it's not any big deal to take your thumb and pop somebody's eyeball out of the socket. And that definitely gets their attention, whether you separate the whole thing from the head or just dangle it there. But can you imagine turning a fucking guy with his eye hanging out of his eye socket next to his friends like, you're next, and using him as a fucking shield? What would the world look like if one of your eyes was in your face and the other one was dangling down the side of your nose?
Yeah, I've always wondered that. Do you still see out of that eye? Do you still see everything that's going on?
Until it's actually plucked, I think you do.
Ooh.
Maybe not well. You got to be something going on. Maybe an ophthalmologist can check in with us.
Remember when they did the work shoot with Kevin Sullivan and Brian Pillman? That was one of the things they did in one of the matches where they made it like Kevin was going for his eye.
Yes.
Because that's naturally actually what Kevin would do if he was in a situation like that where a guy wasn't cooperating and was giving him problems. He'd go for the guy's eye. So they played up on that. I mean, the average fan probably didn't realize what was happening, but a lot of that was to work the boys and work everyone else.
Well, but also I think the average fan would probably pick up on, if you're trying to gouge a motherfucker's eye out, the chances are that relations have broken down. So, but it fit. That is what, yeah. And anybody coming, there were things they used to tell you. The fans, if a fan hits the ring, try to catch them coming through or under the ropes, because that's where they're going to get fucked up. Because nobody is used to watch when local celebrities or politicians or anybody that's not in the business is introduced at a wrestling match, how they get in and out of the ring when they're trying and they're being allowed to walk in. They get hung up in the ropes anyway. When guys, especially if they were drunk, they'd fucking come charging that ring. They'd either try to go head first, diving under, in which case you got to meet them with your fucking foot right up under the goddamn nose, drive the fucking nose bone right back in the goddamn, in their cranium. That'll get their attention. Catch them coming under the rope, or if they try to jump up and come through, they're going to be flummoxed in the ropes for a few minutes and get them that way and go for the eyes. Or if you're on the floor and you can't fucking, get somebody off of you, go for their eyes or their nuts. It's a specialized art, not used a lot anymore. Now the fans hit the ring because they think they can do a better job than what they're fucking looking at, not because they want to attack anybody. They're like, fuck, here, let me show you how to do this. And thank goodness none of the heels have any heat, because they'd probably get their asses kicked, because I look like Lex Luger compared to most of modern wrestlers as far as size. So half the people in the fight, the men in the crowd, and some of the women are bigger than the fucking heels. Anyway, we got an interview coming up that's going to be even more classic than our usual classicness. So why don't you tell the people what you're doing on your classic shows, and then we will get to that.
Another classic week on the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network. Get information about all shows on Twitter at Superpodcasts, or on Facebook, facebook.com/Arcadian Vanguard. Thank you so much to everyone who's been checking out the shows. We really do appreciate it. A few notes here. This week, on Breaking Kayfabe with Baldrin and Barry, the boys are joined by the voice of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Kevin Kelly, a longtime friend of yours, Jim. And he's on the show to talk about all things.
A longtime close personal friend.
That's right. He talks about a lot of things.
We used to go to the Kiwanis Club together. He gave great speeches.
Well, he's on the show talking about a number of things. One of those not being his speeches at the Kiwanis Club, but talking about the wrestling he grew up watching, New Japan, and so much more. Check it out today, BaldrinPod.com. Also available wherever it is that you find your favorite podcast. Also want to make mention this week on John Arezzi's Pro Wrestling Spotlight, Then and Now. We review the original broadcast of Pro Wrestling Spotlight from March 25th, 1990, a legendary episode. This is the first time superstar Billy Graham appears on the show and lets it all out about steroid abuse, about his steroid abuse, about, in his estimation, 90% of all active wrestlers are on steroids, about the injuries he's suffering because of steroid abuse. This is a really interesting show. It's also historical because this kind of opened the floodgates for all the scandals that would come in 1991 and 1992 around steroids, which would cause major changes in professional wrestling, at least major talking about changes in professional wrestling. But hear this today, Bruno Sammartino.
Well, yeah, that is actually, that's contemporaneous with, there was no steroid scandal in wrestling at the time that this program first aired, because this program was one of the instigators toward the steroid scandal. So people now have just grown up like, oh, well, there's always been this issue. No, people weren't talking about it until Arezzi was on the forefront of this.
And remember, this is 1990, spring of 1990. Lyle Alzado, that was 1991. So, I mean, this is a year before that, and then everything blew up around steroids. And, of course, Hulk Hogan's disastrous appearance on Arsenio Hall, where he said he used steroids in 1983 to heal an injury. And other than that, never used steroids in his entire career. A major, major mistake on Hulk Hogan's part.
As like Joe Walsh said, he only got drunk one time for 20 years.
Exactly. But hear this episode, Bruno Sammartino on the show as well, talking about steroids at pwspod.com, or available wherever it is that you find your favorite podcast, or you can hear the original broadcast without our review, patreon.com/Arezzi. And of course, the 605 Super Podcast, the Mothership! Hee-haw! Episode 103 in production right now. We are handling all the editing. It should be done within the week. And then 104, which I think a lot of people are going to talk about. But 103 will have Jeff Winningham on Houston Wrestling and Friday Night in the Coliseum. Brad Balukjian on the Iron Sheik. Steve Verrier on Gene Kaniski. And a great conversation with Bertrand Hébert about Andre the Giant. Plus some other surprises thrown in as well. 605pod.com. Go through the archives today. Also available wherever it is that you find your favorite podcast. If you like wrestling history, there's no show like it. The 605 Super Podcast, the mothership.
Yeah, you keep sneaking that last one in on me. All right, the last one. Yeah, from last. All right, people have wanted to see me together with these guys, and that ain't going to happen at least till the pandemic's over. After, I would like it to happen at least once just so we can say we did it, but you can now hear me with the formerly known as the Revival, now the team of FTR, Dax, and Cash, and Brian. We recorded this due to their busy schedule. They've just started a new job somewhere. It's called, they're going to be garbage men. They're going to be taking out a lot of trash, cleaning an area up, sprucing it up. They're going to renovate it. They're going to paint it up, clean it up, fix it up. They're going to gentrify a slum area of wrestling, are these guys. But we taped this just hours ago, and they are going to go in depth on not only the time they spent in the WWE, but what their plans are for their current location. And Brian, I know you were as excited as I was to have these guys sit down, because we've got to preserve these guys in some type of bronze or granite or something, build statues to them, because if not for these guys, tag team wrestling as an art form, as we know it, would pretty much be extinct.
They are the best tag team in a generation. I am a big fan of their matches, and it was nice to be able to sit down and talk with them about a number of topics, including being able to sit back and listen to you and them talk about the art of tag team wrestling.
Well, let's go to the tape. All right, everybody, the one you've been waiting for. Everybody's wanted to see me with these guys. Well, now you're not going to see us, but you're going to hear us for the first time ever publicly in a broadcast forum. Guests on the program today, the artist formerly known as Scott Dawson, Mr. Dax Harwood. Say hello, Dax.
Jim, how are you doing? Thank you for having us on, and it is a dream come true.
And his other half, the counterpart in this classic tag team, the artist formerly known as Dash Wilder, now Cash Wheeler. Cash, thank you for being here.
Oh, Jim, Brian, thanks for having us on. This is something we've wanted to do for a while without having the actual option of doing it, so it's good to actually be able to be on for once.
But free at last, FTR is free at last. And we're able to do this out in public without anybody being able to sue one of us. And together, you guys, the team of FTR, it's going to be meaning whatever that you need it to mean at the time. But the team of FTR has made so many waves, has caused so much controversy over the last couple of years, both in terms of your previous employment and how you were portrayed there and what the future might hold. So we wanted to get you guys here so that we could talk about it a little bit. And I've been I haven't been bashful about saying I think you guys are technically the best tag team in wrestling today. And since I've been watching your matches for the past 3 years, I've seen this. Why is it so easy for you guys? Why do you understand tag team wrestling and almost nobody today in this business can get it? What's different? What did you guys get?
I think it's just from the region that we come out of. That's the beginning. Obviously we both grew up in North Carolina. We both grew up loving wrestling and loving tag team wrestling. And I think above all though, me and Cash, we're not selfish. We've never been selfish. And we watched that and learned that from guys like Bobby Eaton and Dennis Condrey and Arn Anderson. And even, and especially Flair, those guys were completely unselfish. And I think that's the key to our success so far.
Yeah. And not to like contradict you or anything, but it's not that it comes easy to us, because it's the opposite. Like I think it's been like something we've worked so hard on, and that we focused so much of our time and attention to, and we've paid attention to the smaller details so much to the extent that a lot of other teams aren't willing to do, that it's kind of separated us from the pack. So I think it's just that. It's the attention to detail. It's the respect for the things that have happened and the people that have came before us and given us this opportunity. And we don't want to lose the work that they've put in. We don't want to bastardize the work they've put in just for selfish reasons or to look cool to people that I'll never meet on the internet.
Right. Exactly.
Well,
exactly.
And I got to contradict you for a second though, because yes, you did put in a lot of hard work and you did pay attention to the detail. But what I've found doing seminars, being involved in training programs, is so many of the guys, you can show them the details, but it's a talent to get it. It's a talent to see it. You can point things out to them, but it's a talent for them to be able to get it and understand it and apply it. And so I've known a lot of guys that worked real hard that just couldn't put this stuff together. But you do, not only in I'm not just talking about tag team moves or double teams or whatever, the obvious tag team stuff, but I'm talking about the little things, as you mentioned, the blind tags that are done correctly, the ring positioning, cutting guys off and keeping them in your location, but also the ebbs and flows of a great match. There's so many modern matches you see that just go 100 miles an hour like it's the Indianapolis 500. We're going to go out and turn left at high speed for 500 miles an hour or 500 miles. But you guys, your matches ebb and flow. They have payoffs to them, to the spots and to the peaks. A lot of times now, and I promise I'm going to let you all talk more, but I'm setting this up at the start.
Hey, as long as you're putting us over, it's okay.
Well, there you go. A lot of times guys will just do moves and spots because, oh, hey, here's a cool move. But yours are woven throughout the match where the baby face does it to you first, but then you might try to do it to them, but because you're heels, it somehow backfires and the baby faces get over on you again, or you foil the baby face's signature move so you can start a heat spot and take the rug out from under people. Or when you have a flurry of activity and they're popping, some way it pays off and it slows down to let everybody breathe and catch up. It's your pacing of your matches also is what I noticed first and foremost. So all that stuff was done. You're Carolina boys, but you're not that old. You weren't seeing this stuff first run. Did you have to go back to YouTube? You've been able to do this on tape without even seeing it live in the arenas as it was happening.
Well, I'm not super young. I'm not super old either. I'm 35. So I don't know. I remember watching Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane. I don't remember too much of Condrey, but I remember watching you and Bobby and Stan when I was younger. My dad was a huge wrestling fan, so he introduced me to wrestling. But I think more than anything, when Cash and I first started teaming up in NXT, which was in 2014, we had a sit down discussion, and I said to him, I said, let's don't worry about individually who looks better or who gets this move in or who can outshine who. Let's work together as a team and make our team the best team we can. And I started, I've done it for years, but I've got so many, I've got a 32 disc set of the Midnight Express stuff. Everything you guys have done, I've got that. I've got a 16 disc set of the Dangerous Alliance, who had maybe the biggest collection of talent of all time. I've got Rock and Roll Express, 40 discs of those guys. I've got so many DVDs that I studied because I wanted us to be different than everybody else. And exactly what you touched on, Jim, where you said guys were worried about hitting these moves and looking cool. I don't know when that happened. I'm not sure exactly when that happened, but something changed in wrestling where people said, oh yeah, I've got to hit this move and let me get this move. And oh, look at this cool spot here. And they forgot about everything else that goes into that spot. They forgot why we shoot a guy off from a headlock. They just know that we're going to start running.
You do it, but there's no concept of why behind it.
Right. I get the baby face in a top wrist lock, and I get him in a top wrist lock, and he starts to bring himself up to the point where I'm worried he's going to get out. So I need to fucking snapmare him over, and then we go. Somewhere it got lost in translation that hitting moves was the right way to go, and it's not.
Yeah. To Dax's point on that, I've seen it a 1,000 times where you put a match together with somebody and they have their signature spots that they try to build the match around instead of taking an idea and a story from the match and putting moves in that make sense at the right time. So it doesn't matter to them like what the story is or what the angle is, as long as they get to the signature stuff. Even if it doesn't make sense, they try to make it make sense and fit it in there, whether it should or not. And
yeah,
that's something we've always prided ourselves on not doing. Is if we do a double team, there's a double team move that we like doing, but it doesn't make sense in this match. It doesn't make sense in this story. Then we won't do it, and we'll find something else. And we're okay with that. It doesn't bother us if we have to plug and play different moves for different stories and different matches and different opponents. That's how it should be.
Somewhere,
it should be everybody does the same stuff to the same people. It's just mind blowing to me.
Right. Somewhere it got lost that the object of a professional wrestling match was to win the match so you could make the most money.
Wow.
And that's the object of the match is to. Yeah, Michael Jordan is the most famous and the richest basketball player in the world, even right now, because he worked so hard, because he wanted to be the best, and he wanted to win every single game, and he won 6 championships. He didn't care if he did a spinning dunk. That wasn't his MO. What he wanted to do was win the game and be the best team, not player. He wanted to be the best team in the league at the time. And at some point in the professional wrestling business, that got lost.
Well, and you mentioned that you guys watched the tape. You said, and some people are not going to get this. You said we watched everybody's tapes minutely to see what they did because we wanted to be different. And somebody, well, how is that different doing other people's stuff? It's because it's things that no one does anymore. Not only is it things that nobody does anymore, but also it's not that you're going to have an homage to a match by doing it move for move, but you're going to take. Just like what guitar player didn't listen to Jimi Hendrix, right? It doesn't mean you're trying to copy Jimi Hendrix, but it means you're trying to learn what he did to adapt it to what you do. And you guys have watched, as I've said, it's if you steal from one person, it's plagiarism. If you steal from many, it's research. You guys have researched every great team to see if there was something that they used to do that nobody does anymore that works for you, that you could put it in. And sometimes I know this from being in the same position for so many years, because I was the tape watcher of the group of the Midnight. We'd be able to come up with stuff on the sperm of the moment because I would have seen a tape of somebody else being in that position and getting out of it or doing something or whatever. And it would be able to come up on the spur of the moment because I remembered it. And that's not stealing stuff, but that's learning how other great stars in your chosen profession have reacted or have done things in that particular situation.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think, the more you study tape, the more that it gets like stuck in your mind. So you can think of things, like you said, in the spur of the moment. Like that's working. That's working on the fly. That's not just remembering something step for step and not having to have different options because you already know exactly what you're going to do an hour before you go out there. So if you know, like, okay, we're just going to kind of work around and see what happens. It's going to be all on the fly. Then if you've watched enough tape and you have enough of a memory for it, your Rolodex is going to start turning in your mind and like, okay, I've been in something like this before. How do I get out of this? Or I've seen this before. What's the way I can get out of this?
Well, here's another thing. When I first got in the business, all through the 80s, even as things started changing, when you started seeing guys, when the locker rooms were together and TV had to speed everything up so you couldn't have time to really call things leisurely like a house show, and guys were starting to go over their matches on TV, then it kind of bled over into the house shows, and a lot of the veterans would go up and see these guys talking about their match ahead of time and go, how do you know what the people are going to want? And they're like, what? You're setting this whole thing up. What if they don't like any of it? Are you going to do that or are you going to change it?
You're planning your match. Your match is based around what you think is cool, not how the crowd's going to react.
Yeah, it's like if you run a restaurant, the cook starts cooking dinner before the customer is ordered. What the fuck are you fixing? But anyway, in NXT, you guys flourished. You got rave reviews for your matches. That's when, Brian and I started talking about them, the matches with, I guess, some more of the guys that they've botched their push, and they're Gable and Jordan and all of, but all of the matches you were having in NXT, you were getting rave reviews, having good matches. It seemed like the people there got, the the team concept. What was your training like at NXT? What was your experience like in NXT? Did you feel like you were flourishing there because of all the positive feedback?
Yeah, we enjoyed our time in NXT. I mean, sometimes, you know, me and Cash talk about it. We feel like we were the guinea pigs of NXT, not just he and I, but that generation of guys there, because we would go in on Monday through Thursday, and we would work out in the ring for 3 hours a day, and then we have to go to the gym there for an hour a day, and then from Thursday until Saturday or Sunday, we would have live events. And so we took a lot of years off of our lives and career there. But in NXT, they gave you, if you wanted it, they gave you the opportunity to work and to find yourself, and they gave you the opportunity to work with the other guys too, and they gave you the time. It happened so many times where me and Cash, we were on the road, and we'd get a producer to come to us, and he'd say, "Hey, so-and-so, they don't really feel like going 20 minutes. Would you guys mind going 30 minutes?" And we'd say, I'm not kidding you. It happened all the time.
It happened up until the very end for us.
The very thing. Yes, it did. Absolutely. And we'd say, fuck yeah, give us the time. Please give us 30 minutes. So every weekend there was at least once, usually all weekend, but it was at least one time we'd go 30 or 45 minutes. And the beauty of that was we got to work with guys like American Alpha, who didn't want to just rest on what they knew. They wanted to change the matchup every night, just like we did. I remember Matt Bloom come to us, and he shook our hands, all four of us, and he said, "It's so hard for me to write the report as this is going on because I just want to keep watching the match because I have no idea where you guys are going. Thank you so much for working so hard and changing it up." And so even that little pat on the back was so different than our later experience with the WWE that you just wanted to work hard for yourself, but also for your coaches too.
Yeah, there was a special atmosphere, I feel like, from like 2014 to 16 with NXT, because that's when they first started doing their out of Florida loops, and you were doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday in a city you had never wrestled in, especially like for NXT or WWE. And there was such a hard working core of talent there, especially like the 25 or 30 that did every single, like, they call them coconut loops if they're in Florida, every single coconut loop or every single like out of state loop. Everybody there worked so hard. They worked their asses off, and everybody was trying to outwork each other because it was rewarded. The harder you work, you actually saw the reward. And not just that, but a lot of the guys, especially like me and Dax, we take a lot of pride in what we do, and we take pride in working hard. And so working with Gable and Jordan, it's like, for instance, those guys are machines. They're absolute studs. Both of them are high-level amateur wrestlers. Jordan should have been NCAA champ. Gable's an Olympian, but they don't just rest on that. They don't just rest on their natural athletic ability. They go out there every night, and they wanted to learn. They wanted to pitch ideas. They wanted to try new stuff. They wanted to try to outwork us. They wanted to prove that they were better. That was their goal, and that was our goal. So when you have that mutual respect for each other, and you have a goal where you're trying to outwork the other, like you get magic. And that's what the whole atmosphere felt like for the 2 or 3 years we were down there.
And Jordan was the one that looked like he should be cast in a movie remake of Tarzan, right? What a good looking baby face, if I remember.
Jim, he should be a multi-millionaire right now. No doubt about it. I mean, Gable as well. Gable, he's just like us. He's 5'10", but like both of those guys should be multi-millionaires right now. But Jason Jordan he's 6'2". He's a great looking guy. He's got a phenomenal body, a great work ethic.
Where is he?
He can do anything.
Where is he? I'll sign him.
Well, he works there still. He's a producer now because he had a neck injury.
Oh no!
Yeah.
So like, there's no like, who knows what's going to happen for him in the future. Hopefully, there's a chance that he still gets a chance to fulfill his potential. But he checked every box that you could imagine, especially for that company, because like, obviously Vince has a certain look and a certain type of like wrestler that he wants to push, and JJ checked all of it and then some, because not only did he look the part, he could actually put the boots on and go.
Well, let's talk about this for a minute, because you're in NXT, but it's developmental. You're in developmental.
Yeah.
You're getting rave reviews from the trainers. Your matches are getting all this attention. You're changing things up every night. You're working this hard. Everything's cooking. So then you go to the main roster. Who the fuck didn't see what the fuck was going on with you guys? Because you went from the shining example of modern tag team wrestling in NXT to what the fuck are they doing to those guys? You couldn't be heels because you had too much sympathy from the fans, like when the Midnight Express were baby faces. And they knew we needed to turn back heel. We couldn't ever win a fucking match. We finally switched back heel and the people cheer. It's like, oh, finally they're going to use them again. You guys had sympathy heat from the fans for how they were booking you. What the fuck went wrong?
I think they hired Jim Herd. I think that's what happened. I'm not sure. But no, the thing is it was almost as bad as Jim Herd. Vince was still there, so that's the problem. And I know, and believe me, you can have your opportunity to vent all you like, because we do promote freedom of speech here on The Experience. But even the Vince that I knew, we keep talking about this when I see the programs now. The Vince that I knew would have cussed at the Vince of today, because he's doing things that the other Vince long ago would have said no is not right. So what went on? Jim, like exactly what you just said. A lot of those guys that are producers there now that were working for the company in 94, 95, 96, they said the exact same thing that you just said. I remember after one of our matches, a producer came up to us and he said, there's not a tag team in the world that is better than you guys. There's not very many workers in the world that are better than you guys. I don't know what is wrong with Vince. I don't know what's going on with Vince. This is not the Vince that I worked for. And they finished with they finished with the typical keep working hard and you'll get where you want to go. But I'm not exactly sure. Vince, he has his the things that he likes and he has the things that he doesn't like, and that's okay. We weren't his, and we told him this too on our last meeting. We know we're not his cup of tea. He laughed at it and tried to shrug it off, but we told him we know we're not your cup of tea, Vince, and that's okay. We're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and we're not going to please everybody, and we're not here to please everybody. But what we do know is that there's nobody better than us, and we're going to work harder than anybody in the company. And it just didn't pan out that way. I'm going on a little bit of a rant. So I'm sorry, Cash.
That's fine.
We had a match with our New Day. All four of us came to the back, and we were so proud of this match, and we loved it so much, and we were happy because it wasn't an action-packed match. It was a match that told a great little story. The fans got behind it, and they loved it. And we came to the back, and Vince was waiting right in the middle of Gorilla with his hands in his pocket. Of course, Johnny Ace was agreeing with everything he said. And Vince said one thing that I'll never forget. He said, he looked at me and Cash, and he said, "Everyone tells me you're the next Arn and Tully. You're the next great tag team." Well, that's the problem. You guys are on Arn and Tully. You're great. You're just great professional wrestlers. And to me and Cash, we took that, beaming with pride.
Yeah.
He meant it as an insult.
Yeah, he meant it
as an insult. And so I'm thinking to myself, so you're comparing us to two of the greatest of all time who have drawn a shit ton of money in this business, and you're meaning it as an insult? So to wrap it all up, he just didn't get us. He didn't understand us, and that's perfectly fine that he did. It's his company, it's his money, and he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, I'll keep mine pretty short because I don't have the answer. I don't know what it was about us that he didn't like, or that somebody didn't like, or didn't see anything in. But we're not the first, we won't be the last. So I wish I had some sort of answer. I wish I had some sort of closure on it, where I could say definitively, this is what it was. It's our fault for this, or it's that fault for that. But I'll never know. So I'll always wonder what could have been, but I'm not going to dwell on it either.
Part of the problem today is that there was no way to quantify how you were getting over besides the rave reviews of the trainers and or the fans that cared to write in. But nothing is measured by gates anymore because nobody technically really draws the money. And even on pay-per-view now, you can't really quantify Brock Lesnar's contribution to the pay-per-view gate because it's there, but it's negligible. It's all about streaming and television network, etc. But in the territory days, if the booker used a team or an individual and the house was up, they used them more often, regardless of whether they particularly liked them personally or not, or whether they were their cup of tea. And you could easily tell every week, if the house is up, we're going to do more of this. The house is down, we need to find some different people. And now there's no way to show that. You couldn't actually, and because of the manner in which the television show was written, you couldn't even show ratings success, much less box office success for your great matches, because I think all of the great matches that you had on television were on NXT before they had television, weren't they? The stuff on Raw was a little shorter and more abbreviated and broken up with breaks and whatever the fuck. But I mean, who was trying to pull for you there? Were there any tag team saviors in your corner up there?
Oh man, Jim, there were a ton of guys, and it was not just tag teams. Arn told us and Finley told us that every single producer on every live event had rave reviews for our matches, and then we would have opportunities with top guys on television, on TV. And we would watch them. We watched Roman Reigns. We watched Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy. We watched the greatest wrestler they have there right now. We watched Randy Orton.
Randy.
We watched them all. Yeah, Randy. We watched them all go up to Vince after matches and bring us over and say, we want to work with these guys. And we were, if you go back and look, and this is the thing that kind of bothers me a little bit, is the fans, they just look at the story part of our career and they say, oh, well, they got to work with Roman Reigns and Randy Orton, and they got 3 championship reigns. But what they don't understand is we got to work with Roman Reigns for 2 weeks. We beat Roman Reigns on television in tag team matches 2 weeks. We put him down with the Shatter Machine for 2 weeks. And then the next week, nothing. It was taken away. The same thing with Matt
we weren't on for the next 3 weeks.
Right, exactly. It was just completely taken away. The same thing with Matt and Bray. The same with Randy, who has become one of our mentors and one of our really close friends, who we talk to every single day. He fought for us so hard to get us on TV with him every single week because he believed in our work ethic and he believed in what we brought to the table. And we watched him go to Vince every single week, or Hunter or whoever, and say, we've got to keep this up. And it was multiple guys, the Usos, New Day. I mean, it was a ton of these guys that went to Vince and said, we want to work with these guys, and they would let us work with them, and then they take it away. For example, we were working with the Usos, and we did the stuff where they put Usi Hot on our balls, which is fine. We wanted to do that. And then 2 weeks later, after this angle started gaining some steam, they took us away and put us with Shane, because Shane wanted to work with us. And then they took us away from Shane and put us back with the Usos a couple of weeks later. But instead of there being any heat behind it, they just put us in wrestling matches. So everything that we gained from working with these top guys who wanted to work with us, we would lose because of the hot and cold booking.
And, well, I just say, real quickly, it's booking 101. This is not revolutionary, that if you start doing something with somebody, you keep it up regardless. But do you think it was bone throwing? Was it not? They were, okay, we'll throw them a bone. We'll let them do something, but we don't really mean it.
For a lot of it, I feel like it was because of merit. Because a lot of the, like Dax said, a lot of the guys pushed for it. But
I mean, that's what I'm saying. At the top, the creative team has to be, okay, all these guys are complaining because they want to see the best wrestlers we've got wrestle, and they want to work with them. So we'll give it to them for a week or two, but we don't really mean it. So we're not going to keep going with it. And that's not the way to push anybody.
Yeah. Hey, Jim, he's serious. That's the honest to God truth.
I'm not trying to insult anybody, but I feel like, and it's not anybody's fault really, but there's no long-term vision for a lot of the booking. So like, honestly, I'm not exaggerating. I'm not trying to bury anybody here. Like, you don't know what you're doing that day, much less the next week. So like, you find out what you're doing sometimes at 5 or 6 o'clock before you go live at 8, and okay, well, where's this going? We don't know. We'll have to figure it out. So it's hard. It's hard to keep any consistency or any sort of momentum when nobody knows.
Well, that's a problem coming from somebody who's been in both sides. I've either been the booker all alone, or I've been on booking teams, not as big as they have now with these creative teams, but you don't have a plan for the future unless there's one person an assistant, or one person and maybe one or two assistants. When you've got 30 writers, you have no plan. You don't have a plan for 8 o'clock at 6 o'clock, like you just said. It's too much.
Yeah. And 8 o'clock would roll around, and I remember there was a time we were in Cash, were we in MSG whenever it was like 8:15, and we were supposed to have like a deal with Randy and New Day. It was 8:15, and the plans had changed. It was the time where Kofi was going to get his deal back with Randy.
Through the table.
Jump off through the table. At 8:15, the plan had changed 3 times, but we were told, okay, this is what we're going to do, and we were going to be with Randy. At 8:15, it changed, and we were completely off the show. And I think we were supposed to be on a pay-per-view within the next couple of weeks with those guys.
No, it was that week. That was the go home.
That week. Yep. Yeah, it was just like Cash said, and I don't want to harp on this because I have no ill feelings towards WWE. I'm looking at my wife and my daughter outside right now. They're playing on a swing set that I got to pay for because of WWE. So I owe them everything that I have. But, in the grand scheme of things, as far as the business goes, it was very difficult to have to deal with that every single week.
Well, I mean, I've been there, with the midnight, when you feel like, yes, we're making money, but we are being drastically underused, misused by the administration for no apparent reason because we're outperforming other people, et cetera, et cetera. So you get when did you basically come out? Because this story's been going back and forth for a while, that you had told them you were unhappy, you weren't going to re-sign, and are they going to? And they're making plays for you, trying to keep you. When did you first register with them that, hey, we're not happy and we don't want to do this too much longer?
I'll let you start.
January of 2019 was when we first asked for our initial release. We had a talk with the higher ups, and we just came back straight from our match, still in gear. Asked him if he could step out of Gorilla and talk to us, and he did. And we just said, hey, look, we feel like the tag team division is a joke. Like, it's always just kind of an afterthought or squeezed in or gets a little bit here and there, but it's never like focused on. There's never long-term stories. There's never main events. Like, and there's a lot of great tag teams here. Like, and I feel like none of them really get to contribute what they're able to. So we just don't want to be here anymore. And they, the guy we were talking to, he was, nodding along, and he was agreeing. He's like, look, I feel like.
Is there any names that can be mentioned?
We'll just say he was
rising.
Guy in the company.
Say I didn't hear it.
Pretty high. He was rising up pretty high up in the office.
He was terrorizing the whole company.
Oh, I got you. He's yes. So he had his nose in this situation.
Right.
Well, he was the only one we had we had our relationship with him from NXT, and like we didn't really have like established relationships like that with many of the other higher ups.
And we also felt like he was the only guy who showed us any kind of respect there too, because he knew what we could do.
Well, what did he say?
He told us that before he was nodding along in agreement with us. He said, well, I think the plan is we're going to give you guys the tag belts in a couple of weeks. And Cash stopped him right there, and he was like, man, look, we don't care about the tag belts. We don't want the tag belts. We want the whole division to mean something. And he started listing off all the guys that we could potentially work with and have tear-down matches and make money with. And he said, the tag belts mean nothing to us. We want the whole division to flourish so we all can make more money. And he agreed with us, but he said, I think there's going to be, and I'm really honest to God, I believe that he believed this in his mind. He said there's going to be his exact words were, there's going to be a big wave of change coming soon. He said, and I really would like you guys to be a part of it. But if you don't want to be a part of it, then I totally understand. And we'll give you guys your release. And this was before.
Yeah, not to interrupt. Hold that thought just a second. But this is around the exact same time all the McMahon family came out on television on Raw and said, we know that you guys aren't happy with the product and there's going to be a big change.
Yes, I remember.
So they had publicly announced that there's going to be big changes. So I feel like at the time, everybody believed there was going to be wide sweeping changes. So when he told us this, we really do think that he was heartfelt. Like, we don't think he was trying to bullshit us or just trying to politic. I think everybody from the top to bottom thought, like, oh, this is really happening. There's going to be some big changes coming.
Dude, what happened to the changes? They changed.
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
I think Jim Herd was in control. That's what I'm telling you. But I remember a week after that, Seth Rollins cut a promo in the ring, and he said something along the lines of the McMahons. And he was like, I know you guys are, you've got the greatest tag team in the world sitting back there in the locker room, the Revival, and the people blew the roof off. And I remember that, I remember Vince apparently had this big epiphany there. Like, he couldn't believe that we got a pop like that from a mention, and we thought things were really going to change. But going back to Hunter, he said, but if you guys really believe in this and you want your release, we'll give it to you. And we said, thank you, sir. And we shook his hand and we walked away. We went to talent relations office. They told us you could have, if Hunter said, then we'll give you your release. We walked, literally shut the door to talent relations office, and we got 10 text messages from our coworkers that said, you guys are getting released. So the word had already got out. And then
before we got back to our rental car.
Wait a minute. You're still in the arena. The guys in the locker room are texting you instead of just walking up to you and asking you?
No, it was guys from we were on Raw at that time, and it was a lot of SmackDown guys.
Oh, I got you.
And we were leaving talent relations to go straight to our car. And I'm not kidding you, Jim. As soon as we shut the door, our phones just started lighting up. So everybody knew, but the next day they told us that we couldn't leave. They weren't going to let us leave.
Well, okay. Who was they this time? Was it the same they as told you could leave?
Same day, yeah.
Well, yes, yeah. And it was Mark Carano that relayed the message. And he said that Hunter wanted to speak with us. And so we talked with Hunter, and we had a great conversation with him. But
just not a great release. What was his mind change about?
He told us that that he really believed that we have something to contribute to the team, and that he didn't want to let us go because of the talent that we had and the opportunities that they could provide for us. And there's nothing we could do. We could have sat at home like a lot of other talent did. A lot of other talent, especially around that time, they would get upset. Never did they ask for their release, but they would get upset and they would just say, I'm not coming into work, and they wouldn't come into work. But we told
it's good
Hunter,
that's an option now in today's day and age, that's suddenly become an option.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is they got paid more for sitting at home than me and Cash did for working, but needless to say.
I've been there too.
But we told Hunter, we said, look, we're men of our word. We always have been. We signed a contract for 3 years, and we're not just going to up and leave. We're going to honor our contract. And if you guys aren't going to let us leave, we're going to stay, and we're still going to work harder than anybody else in the company. And he promised us, change. And then I think 2 weeks later, Cash, we won the tag belts or something. It never led to anything, but I think we won the tag belts there.
that day changed like quite a bit. I remember it was supposed to be you and Gable in the singles match that day.
Yeah.
So it's like 7 o'clock for an 8 o'clock start, and I'm getting a haircut, and I feel my phone start going off. Like who's texting me right now? I had a bad feeling, and then I looked at it, and it's like, you guys have 3 segs with Bobby and Gable to close the show. I'm like, oh,
which we got to thank. We have to thank Arn for that, because he stood up to Vince and he said, Vince, I'm telling you that for the past 2 months, this match has been rocking it on all the house shows. You've got to give them an opportunity on television. And Vince gave us 3 segs on TV. The fans at first, I'm very proud of that match. If you ever get a chance to go back and watch it, it was in February of 2019. I'm very proud of that match, because at first the fans didn't care about either of the teams because we hadn't been featured. But by the end of the match, they were rocking, and they were doing the typical "this is awesome" chant, and they were freaking out over all of our false finishes. And we got to the back, and Vince patted us on the back, and he said, "Good shit," which I don't even know if he watched it, but he said, "Good shit." And we really believed that something was on the horizon for the tag team division. It just never came out like that.
Well, and it's not a far distance from a pat on the back to a kick in the pants. But Brian Lasted, is that one of the matches that we watched that they had with those guys and said how wonderful it was? I seem to remember a big long 3 segment.
Yeah, you guys did review that one.
There you go.
Review that one. I remember that you were really happy with that match. And
well, because it was kind of
that was like an abbreviated version of what we were doing on live events, because obviously TV is a lot different and time constraints are a lot different. So it wasn't like we were doing on the live events, but it was pretty close, and we were very happy with it.
Well, and yeah, I was going to mention it was, as you said, because nobody had been featured. Tag team wrestling has been minimized, et cetera, et cetera. The people were cold. It was like the Midnight Express Southern Boys in Baltimore, when the Baltimore was not really on the Southern Boys bandwagon, but 20 minutes later, we got them. You guys went out there and you showed them, and you got them, and you took them on that ride, which is even harder to do than a top guy coming out already getting people fucking wetting their panties. Is you have to hook them, and you have to take them on the ride, and you have to give them the payoff, and you guys did that. And once again, everybody.
Give Gable and Bobby a lot of credit there too, because not a lot of guys can keep their composure or keep their confidence when you go out there and you start a match and you know that it's going to take a while to build and the crowd's not feeling it yet. A lot of guys start to panic and they start to freak out, and things can get off tracks in a hurry. Those 2 guys are such pros, and they know their stuff, and they know how to tell the story and trust in it. And by the end of it, like Dax said, we had them right where we wanted them, and we couldn't have been happier. So I don't think it could have been as good without those 2.
Well, I've always said Bobby Roode reminded me in the ring of Arn Anderson. Just his positioning, and he's always solid and right there and knows what he's doing.
Hey, watch it now.
Agreed.
Watch it now.
Well,
you got on the phone.
I'm just saying he reminds me of, it can put me in mind of more than one person. But anyway, so once again, everything's sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows and waterfalls, and we're all giggling like schoolgirls with shiny new vibrators over these great matches, and still nothing's fucking happening for you guys. Who is burying you? What's going on?
I don't think there was anybody that was burying us. I believe
it's just Vince was not going to not only not allow you guys to do what you were going to do, but also they just don't give a shit about the tag team division at all. Even when they have people that can carry it, it's just not going to happen, because that's what Brian and I've been talking about for a long time now, is all of the tag teams are interchangeably mid-card.
Right. I think it goes back to us not being Vince's cup of tea. I just think that right now, in the last 15 years, tag team wrestling hasn't been Vince's cup of tea. And again, that's okay, because that's his company and that's his money, and if that's how he wants to spend it, that's fine. But I was proud of our 2019. We got the tag titles defended on pay-per-view for the first time in maybe a year at Fastlane. We got the tag titles in a singles match at WrestleMania for the first time in years. So I'm very proud of our 2019, even though there were a lot of things that were, taken away from us. But I don't think there was anyone that was going against us. I just think it's, Vince's his flavor, and his flavor.
And I know Vince, well, it was at one time, it was always featured heavily in his father's company, would be the Valiant Brothers, or, the Executioners, or go back, Rocca and Perez. His father actually promoted the only tag team that was ever the number one box office attraction in the business over the course of a calendar.
His favorites as a kid.
The Graham brothers.
Were the Grahams. Yeah.
Well, Dr. Jerry, actually. I think, and he probably didn't like Eddie later on in life, but
yeah.
The point is, he will feature tag matches, but he got in this during the 90s. He got in this mindset of not tying two major single stars up in the same entity, the same team. He would put them together for specific pay-per-view matches, but not let them go long periods of time. And then suddenly by, that time, then the Smoking Guns, Body Donnas, era, Headbangers, all great guys, but they were just moved to the middle of the card at that point. Whereas it wasn't like the Hart Foundation, Demolition, Rockers of the previous generation. And he, so I know that he's been going in that direction, but another of his picadillos besides size is just the personality thing. What did they say about your promos? There is no such thing as a manager anymore, unfortunately, a lot of times because of Vince. So was there did he have the old, you guys don't really have a Southern accent. You don't sound like you come from North Kakalaka. Was he mad from the Carolinas?
I think and I'm not, it sounds like I'm being a smart ass, but I promise you I'm not. I think
100% shoot right here.
Would forget that we could talk. He would forget that we could cut promos. He would just, and he would, there were multiple times where after we did one with him, we did a backstage with him after we asked for our release actually. And he was so happy with it. And then with the Uzi Hot stuff, there was a couple of different instances where he's like, God damn, that was good. And it's like, well, yeah, just let us do it more. And that was the biggest misconception, I think, is that they just thought we were pro wrestlers and that we couldn't talk. And I have no problem telling you right now that we could talk better than the majority of the roster if we get the chance, especially if we have something to sink our teeth into and like an angle to go with. But I think he just forgot.
Absolutely. And like, I heard on your podcast not too long ago, you said something to the, I think a fan may have asked, are you going to manage the Revival in AEW? And you said, I'm not exactly sure if there is a weak point in their game, but if there is a weak point, the only thing that it may be is their speaking ability, but that's because you haven't had the opportunity.
Well, I was about to say, because I was trying to think on the fly if I ever heard you guys be able to do a promo.
Right, exactly.
The two mute guys over there,
I am so I don't give a shit if this sounds egotistical, but I'm so confident in my speaking ability, in both of our speaking abilities. But just speaking on myself, I'm so confident in my speaking abilities and what we can do, and the things that we could, and how we could sell a match, and how we could sell a pay-per-view. We had for 2 years we had this thing. It was the NXT promo tournament. And it was all the NXT guys, every single one of them. And we had to come into, I don't know how many guys it was, but all the top guys had a tournament. And I won that promo tournament. And that's why I don't get why Vince never let us speak. He never let us talk. And I think it's because, to him, to you, maybe we don't have a Southern accent, but to him, he hears the twang. He's like, oh, damn. Yeah, that's disgusting. These guys have got to fuck their cousins, no doubt.
Oh, God. Well, hey, here's everybody wants to know about this. And we've talked about, you got promised a number of times things were going to change. Things didn't change. But then finally, the fucking outfits, the costumes, their plan to the last ditch effort to keep the formerly known as the Revival, the FTR, under our wing. We're going to dress them up like they just stepped off a casting call for a live action remake of The Cat in the Hat. What the fuck?
Well, I guess the best part about it is they were very generous to us, and offered us multiple times, offered us a lot of money. And it was very hard for me to turn that down because I do have a perfect wife and a beautiful daughter. But thank God I have been able to be frugal, and I've saved my money, and I have no debt at all. So money isn't something that we both, myself and Cash, money isn't something that we have to have.
Well, besides, as we serendipitously, as you've found out here recently, if you had unfortunately made the mistake that poor old Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson did and said, oh, you're going to give us this $14 million in change, so we'll just sign. And then 3 months later, no, we changed our mind.
Yeah,
at least you didn't get in that predicament.
That's something that we kind of thought might happen if we did, no matter what, how much we signed for how long. We kind of assumed that would be.
If you sign a 5-year if you sign a 5-year contract with a 90-day period out clause, you've signed a 90-day contract. But go ahead. The outfits.
But the outfit, I guess they thought, okay, well, these guys aren't. Vince thought, okay, these guys aren't accepting the crazy amount of money that we're throwing at them. Let's give them this idea. And I'm still not 100% sure if Vince thought it was the greatest idea in the world, or if he said, well, let's just embarrass them on the way out. But they handed us they handed both of us each a packet with these pictures. And I remember it clear as day. As soon as Cash opened it, he bust out laughing because he thought it was a joke. And
oh no, I think I laughed because I knew it wasn't.
Yeah. And so, Vince and Bruce, they're right there. And Bruce was trying to explain to us why this is such a great idea for us and why this would be good for our careers. And Vince is, asking us how we like it.
Wait a minute. Don't bury the lead here. Give me some of Bruce's material, because I've many times said Bruce, in addition to being the artful dodger, is also the explainer. He will explain things for Vince. What was his? Give me some verbiage. How was he trying to pitch? Dressing you up like fucking Dr. Seuss's fucking Taco Bell induced nightmares.
So we have to take it back about, what would you say, Cash? Maybe 2 months prior to this, when we had the meeting with Bruce?
Probably, yeah.
I would imagine it was about 2 months before this. We were told what they wanted to do. And initially what they wanted to do is they wanted me and Cash to be parodies of 1980s tag team wrestling. And when I heard that, I was so mad because, one, why would I want to make fun of Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson or the Fantastics or the Fabulous One? Why would I want to do that when they are the reason that we're all allowed to make so much money right now? That was my first big qualm with it. But we had a meeting. I called a meeting with Bruce and with me and Cash and Bruce. And Bruce, I said, Bruce, you want us to wear top hats and sequins and suspenders, and you want us to be a parody of the Fantastics. And he said, no, it's not just the Fantastics. You're not a parody of the Fantastics. You're a parody of the Fantastics and the Fabulous Ones and Rock and Roll Express. And, and he started naming all these teams. And I said, Bruce, is the reason that you guys are doing this to us because our contracts are up in a few months? And he said, oh, no, I had no idea about your contracts. He said, I had no idea about your contracts being up. He said, but I really
wait, hold on. Pump the brakes. I guarantee you, if Bruce Pritchard knew anything besides his Social Security number, it was exactly when your contracts were up. Go ahead.
No, but he said everyone in the company knows that you guys are great wrestlers, and you may be the two best wrestlers we have. He said, but now we want to tell stories. And I stopped him right there, and I said, well, Bruce, tell me what this story is right now that you're giving us. And he said, well, and he kind of stammered a little bit. I said, okay, if you don't know the story, what's the end to this story? And he said, well, we haven't got that far yet. And so that's when I knew that that's when I had a suspicion this was just to embarrass us. But now
I remember
go ahead. Sorry.
I remember telling Vince, because Vince's thought process was this is a great way for you guys to show like more depth. And I told him,
depth.
We'll do it.
Well, your goddamn Ralph Waldo Emerson emoting next to the fucking pond at Walden or whatever the fuck. This is depth. You're dressed like a goddamn Hanna-Barbera nightmare.
You wouldn't get it. You're not as sophisticated. You wouldn't understand it.
That's true.
But I remember telling him, like, look, if you want us to do this, if this is what you think is going to show you that we have more depth, then fine. But I want you to talk to your writers and ask them to see the emails we sent them every week for the past year and gotten no replies to. And where we've told you how we want to not just be seen as professional wrestlers, we want to have character development and character growth, and we want to have different ideas where we can contribute to the show without it just being, oh, these guys are going to have a good match. And we've given you guys an email every week for a year and gotten 0 replies. So I asked them to see that, and then maybe there's some depth in there. But that was obviously like he didn't even know there was emails.
Yeah, he apologized to us. He was very apologetic. And I mean, Vince, our interactions, we had a lot of interactions with Vince. We went to his office all the time. And he was very welcoming and open to us. But did he ever call either one of you Billy, like Stan Marsh's grandfather that can't remember his name on South Park? Well, Billy. No, he never said that. But he did apologize to us for that, because when Cash said that about all the pitches that we've sent in, I said, Vince, you have 50 people on the roster right now, and they're making 6 figures a year, and they're flying first class. Well, I'm sitting in the middle row in the middle of the plane, and that's the best that they can come up with. And he apologized profusely. He said it's a broken system, and they're all trying to fix it. That's when Cash said, look, we'll do this, and we'll do it to 110%. But just to let you know, when our contracts are up, we're not going to resign. We'll work hard until then, and we'll try to make this work as best we can, but we're not going to resign. We just want to let you know. And that's kind of how we left it.
And at that point, they didn't even have those outfits made.
No, they just had the mock-up.
Did they have music for you guys?
They had theme music.
They had music, all right.
Jim, I wish you and Brian could have seen Vince dancing to our music. He didn't get out of his seat, but I think that's because he wasn't feeling very well for a few weeks. He hadn't been feeling very well. But the way he was dancing in his seat, I'll never forget it. But it was cheesy 80s music. And he wanted us to come out and bebop to it and dance and moonwalk and stuff like that. Yeah,
see, so that's the thing that used to drive me crazy is they're in the business that they're trying to parody, and they don't even know what they're parodying, because that wasn't every 80s tag team. They just remember. It's almost like they got Shitstain back and is trying to write this stuff. He wanted to make mockery of stuff from the business previously that worked that he didn't understand. And there's no reason to do that. They have a team on the roster that is different than everyone else, that doesn't do the same things, and it gets rave reviews for their actual matches rather than just people screaming when they come out because they have a catchphrase. That's different. You would want more of that to add variety instead of trying to make you guys as clownish as everybody else is, tossing out pancakes and waffles and French toast and whatever else gets pitched around these days. So
yeah.
What was it then? Did you have any Brown Ford LTDs with Missouri plates following you around for the last little bit of your contract? Were you afraid for your safety, or did you feel at that point that you were going to be free and get out of there?
So that was a Friday. The meeting with Vince was a Friday right before TV went live, and we got called that Wednesday, and we're just told we were off everything, that we weren't going to be, like, we were supposed to leave for TV like in a day and a half, because it was Wednesday night when Carano called us and said, look, there's been a change. The chairman wants to just pull you guys off everything. No TV, no live events going forward. So like no brown cars following us around. They just decided to not pay us and kind of sit us at home and let things run out.
Well, and that's another thing on the loophole. Since you guys had a contract structured a certain way, you'd already made the money that you needed to make for your minimum. So you just had to sit home and not get a check, as opposed to all these other freeloaders that sit home and get checks.
Yeah, and that was a thing that hurt me. I don't even know if I was mad. I don't think I was pissed off or wanted to kill anybody. Well, maybe I did want to kill somebody, but I think that that hurt me more than anything is the last 2 years, me and Cash worked harder. No, I don't want to say that. We worked more matches than almost anyone else in that company. In 2019, I think there was one other person that may have been above me and Cash as far as matches worked. And that's saying something coming from guys who didn't have a lot of shit on TV. But they knew that we would work hard, and they knew that they could put any babyface with us on the live events, and they'd get a great match, and the people would go home happy. So we worked more matches than anybody else in 2019. And the time that they decided to send us home, we had eclipsed our very low downside because of that, because we worked so hard. And they didn't have to pay us. Thank God we both, like I said earlier, are frugal and saved our money, because we got to live off of our saved money for 3 months.
And promoters hate that also, when the guys are actually good with their money, because then they got fuck you, go away money, right? It's like
they underestimate how cheap I am.
They hate that.
Right. Yeah.
Can I ask a few questions before we move on to what
Sure you can.
doing?
Hop right in.
Hey guys, so I became a really big fan of you watching the American Alpha matches and then the DIY matches, and those takeover shows were just phenomenal. Not just your matches, the whole shows, and of course your matches. I want to ask you something. I want you to tell me if you think this is a fair statement or not, because I hear various things. A lot of people are in NXT. A lot of people feel that Paul Levesque has their back. Do you think it's fair to say that a lot of former NXT wrestlers, a lot of NXT alumni lose faith in Paul Levesque once they get to the main roster?
Ooh. So I don't know if we lost faith in him. I think he always respected us. And I guess I can't speak for everyone else that was in NXT. He always had respect for us and what we could do. But I will tell you this. I've never shared this story before, but we had, Raw 25, the infamous Raw 25, where we thought that we were Hunter's guys. We really did, because we worked so hard for so long to make NXT mean something. Going back to me saying that we would be asked, can you go 30 minutes? Can you go 40 minutes? We would always say yes. And we'd always ask for more, because we believed in NXT and we believed in Hunter, and we wanted to make NXT work. And the respect that we had for Hunter. And then Raw 25 came along, and we had heard rumblings that day about what we were doing. And then when we found out, it broke my heart, man. And I hope that doesn't sound corny or cheesy, but that was when Hunter and all of the clique came out, and they just ran through me and Dash. They hit us with every one of their finishers. We came to the back, and this is rough, but I came to the back. I walked right through Gorilla, and I punched the wall. It was a brick wall. I punched it as hard as I could, and I started flipping out. I remember Cash just grabbed me, and he's just, calm down. It's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. And I was in tears, not because I was sad, but because I was so upset and hurt, because a guy that we had, and we still do, a guy that we had so much respect for, we thought we couldn't believe that he would, allow that to happen to us. But on the flip side of that, it's not his company. You know what I mean? He doesn't call the shots. Vince calls the shots.
Well, but no, let me hop in there. If Triple H did not want you to be the specific modern talent that got beat up and ass kicked by DX or the NWO or whichever reincarnation of the 20-year-old group it was, it could have been somebody else. It didn't have to. He probably picked you guys because he liked you, because he knew you took the best bumps and wouldn't hurt anybody when they were giving you shit. Because they could have been herniating each other trying to pick y'all up or whatever.
To expand on Dax's point too, I don't think it's not even so much like the actual segment. It was some of the comments and stuff before and after it. I felt like we obviously we're out there to do a job for those guys and to shine them up and make them look good. And they've been around forever, and they've accomplished a ton. But I felt like they just didn't respect us, what we were about to do. And like afterwards, we couldn't even get as much as a glance from any of them. Like,
except for one,
not a handshake, not a thank you.
I'll say one. Actually, one did say thank you, and it was X-Pac. He was very appreciative.
Yeah.
He said thank you. He said it was a pleasure working with you guys. I've been a fan of yours for so long. Thank you guys for doing that. Everyone else walked right past us. No handshake, no thank you, no nothing.
Well, Sean of all of them, Sean was the guy that's in the wrestling business. The other guys are in their own business. They're in business for themselves.
Yeah, Sean's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He is. But that really hurt us. And I can't say that, anybody loses faith in Hunter. I'm not sure if we lost faith in Hunter that day as much as we just lost faith in that particular company and that particular business. And we just knew from then on that that wasn't the place for us. But we did decide that night, we had talked about it. We had a couple of drinks, and we said, we're not going to let this be our death. We're not going to let this define our careers. We're going to work harder than we've ever worked to at least dig ourselves out of this hole. And to our credit, maybe I'm patting myself on the back, but to our credit, we didn't let it kill us.
Couple more questions, and I don't know legally what you guys can answer when it comes to this next one, but Cash, after the incident at the Hall of Fame with the fan who charged Bret Hart, did Vince treat you differently after that? Did you get a lot of pats on the back after the incident where, I don't know what I should say or what I shouldn't say?
Well, everybody knows what the incident was. Yeah. In the old days, Cash would have been taken out and celebrated by all the boys in the locker room. Did that happen?
All right,
with Vince?
I'm gonna tread carefully here. I will tread carefully, and the good news is I did talk to our lawyer before any podcast to see what was smart and not smart to talk about. So as long as I follow that advice and keep the story somewhat simple, I think we can talk about it some. So if you watch the videos back, if you go and you watch it, obviously this guy attacks Bret, and when everybody finally gets him under control, watch it back, and there's not a single security guard, there's not a single cop. It's just the boys. It's me, and Big E and Thaddeus and Mustafa, and maybe one or two of the refs, like John Cone might have been there, but there was
Shane got there real quick. Shane McMahon put on a land speed record.
But just the escort out. Like, so we have this guy, and all of us have him, and we're trying to get him out of there, and his hands are not restrained. Go back and watch the video as many times as you guys want. The dude's hands are not restrained, and he's still threatening everybody. Like, let me go. I won't go into too much detail, but he's threatening all the guys. Well, and
you never know, because I mean, I've been in these situations that you never know what they got in their pocket. You never know if their hands are free. You never know when they're going to reach in their pocket.
Yeah.
Sometimes they need to be neutralized.
His hands were free. He's still making threats. He's obviously not mentally stable at this point in time. So we just did what we had to do to neutralize the situation. Like, none of us are going to take the risk of just thinking this guy's bluffing, that he's not going to hurt anybody, because he's already shown that he's going to attack people and do some stupid things. So none of us are willing to take that risk of saying, oh, well, we better just hope he's lying. Like, nah, that's not the case. So obviously we all did what we had to do. Shit happened.
But that's the kind of thing that afterwards, Vince McMahon in the old days, there would possibly been a bonus in your future or something like that. Or certainly everyone would have been toasting you.
I did have to have a meeting with Vince, and I did, like, just me and him, and I did have to, like, show him the video from multiple angles so he could see that the guy wasn't restrained. There were no cuffs, no cops, no security, just the boys and a mentally unstable guy whose hands are not being restrained at all. And as soon as he saw the videos and I told him kind of like what the guy had been saying, everything changed. Like, he wasn't mad to begin with. He was just worried. But once he saw the video and he saw that the guy was not restrained, he was still a threat, and that was the case. He was like, that's completely justified. That's self-defense. That is, you guys did what you had to do in the blink of an eye to make sure that nobody else got hurt. And so from that moment on, he was excited.
But we're still not going to push you.
He loved it.
We're still not going to push you, but congratulations.
But at least he understood, like, hey, this is kind of like, this is chaos right here. This guy's making threats. We got to do something. We can't just not and hope for the best.
Hey, Big Bubba Rogers, when he worked as the guard at Cobb County, he the first night that he stopped a fan from getting to me, right, in pretty convincing fashion, he said the way that they referred to it in the prison was, we're going to restrain them so that they are not a danger to themselves or others. This guy wasn't a danger to my Aunt Lola by the time Big Bubba got finished with him, but that's applicable. Anyway, go ahead, Brian Last.
From your experience there, and you obviously were on both shows, who's more full of shit, Bruce Pritchard or Paul Heyman?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my
man.
God. Put a gun to my head.
You're going to make me choose. So this is what I think. Okay. This is my opinion. I think that they were both completely way past their eyeballs to the top of their brain. They were both full of shit. But at least I feel, I don't know how you feel, Cash. At least I don't think that Bruce,
I know where you're going.
I don't think Bruce, at least he didn't believe the shit that he was feeding us. You know, Paul Heyman was serving it on a platter and cutting it up for us and feeding it like we were birds. You know what I mean? Like, he was feeding us the shit like it was fact and true.
Well, that just means actually Paulie is a better worker than Bruce. He always has been. So that kind of, fucking fits.
Yeah, maybe. But I also think that Bruce had a little more respect for us than Paul had as well. And I think Paul did respect us too, because I remember he had a few conversations with Arn about us. But I think Bruce respected us a little more than Paul did. And I can't fault him for this, but I think he obviously loved his job more than he loved us.
I was going to say, like, I'll answer this as diplomatically as I possibly can. Neither guy are in a position that I envy one iota.
No.
So I think they both are as full of bullshit as they have to do to survive and make the money they need to make. So, I mean, I think it's about equal as far as bullshit, just depending on the day of the week.
Hey, the other member of that revolving door, what about Bischoff? Did you guys work with him while he was there for those 2 or 3 weeks, or he was running one of those shows? No, never saw him?
No, we had...
I don't think he showed up for work ever, did he? Wasn't that part of the problem?
He was there. He just didn't interact with most people.
Yeah. He didn't talk very much.
I'm really curious about your relationship with Arn, because obviously Arn Anderson means a lot to you guys. When did you first meet him, and how did that relationship develop, and what does Arn mean to you guys?
Man, you want to get me emotional on the show, huh? So it's not just Arn. To answer your question first, we met Arn when we first came up to the main roster. And that's the first time that we met him. And he had watched some of our stuff before, and he was a fan of our stuff, but honestly, I don't think he became a real fan until after he saw us on live events and us working on live events.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he had heard about us and he had seen a few things, but when you're on the road with WWE, you have no time to do anything. So I don't think he ever had an opportunity to watch our matches. But then when he got on the road and watched our house show matches, we'd have great matches with Apollo Crews and Titus O'Neil. We'd have great matches with Heath Slater and Rhino. We'd have great matches with Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, New Day, all these guys, and they were all completely different. And that's when he gained a whole new respect for us. But as far as him meaning something, what he means to us, guys, this is the deciding factor for both me and Cash as far as leaving that company. Professional wrestling means so much to me. It has done some great things for me even before I got a paycheck from it. It kept me from trouble. It kept me safe when I was young. And that sounds very corny, and I apologize, but it did. It kept me out of trouble. And right now, aside from my wife and my daughter, professional wrestling is an entity to me that I absolutely love and respect, and I'll do anything to make sure that the respect for it is always held up. And being able to watch Arn and take things from him and listen to him and learn from him is something that I'll never forget, and it's something that I'll always cherish. But it's not just Arn who I have the most. You too, Jim. Like I told Brian that you're Jim fucking Cornette. I'll come on the show anytime. You can have 10 trees fall down 10 days in a row. It doesn't matter.
I'll come over and cut the trees.
I
if you
hope
need
I
help.
don't.
Yeah.
Unless you want a lumberjack gimmick. You're the Leduc brothers now, Joe and Paul.
But we owe you guys so much for what we have now, what we had before. So there's no way that I can put into words what Arn, you, Bobby, Brett, any of Austin, anybody means to us.
Well,
Yeah,
I
there's no way
appreciate
to-
that, guys. I really do.
There's no way to put a value on it or put it into words. Like, it's legitimately the only reason we are where we are is for guys like you and Arn and Fit and Bobby and Dan and Dennis and all these guys that came before us and have not only like showed us things by like the way they've worked, but taken the time to come to us personally and give us advice or tell us what they think we're doing right or tell us what we could do differently. Like, I can't ever put a value on like that advice and that kind of just investment that all these legends have made into going out of their way without having to do it, just to give us any sort of knowledge that's going to help us become better. Like, I can't ever tell you how much it means to me.
One question. You don't have to name any names. Give me a percentage. What percentage of today's wrestling generation either watches tapes of the classics or asks the veterans for advice and takes it, or both? What percentage?
So I'll tell you a story to answer that. I don't know if I can give you a percentage, but I'll tell you a story, a quick little story. Dash, you remember the time that Ricky Morton came to the PC?
Oh, yeah.
And he was a trainer there. Yeah,
I do.
So Ricky Morton was there as he was a guest trainer, and I walked into the PC one day, and Ricky Morton was by the ring, and everyone was in the building. No one was talking to him. Yeah, by himself. He was at a ring by himself. No one was speaking to him. No one was even just going over and acknowledging him. No one was saying anything. So I went to Matt Bloom and I said, you've got Ricky fucking Morton out by the ring, Hall of Famer, and nobody is talking to him. And at the time, they had a tag team class. They had a class just for the tag teams, and they were in session, and no tag team was talking to him. And Matt Bloom said, he said, I can't believe it either. He said, if you would like to say something, you have the floor and you can say it. And so they called all the talent, and they all came to the floor. And I went off. I said, this is Ricky Morton, the Rock and Roll Express. If you didn't grow up watching wrestling, that's totally fine. But now you're in this business, and now you learn who this man is. And I flipped out, and I started crying. I lost it, and I started crying because I was so upset that and I wasn't sobbing like a little baby.
Yeah,
I was pissed off. I was so mad because this is supposed to be our future of professional wrestling, the future generation of professional wrestling. And no one wants to ask Ricky Morton, the greatest seller of all time, the man who's drawn so much money, more money than anybody in that building will ever draw combined. They don't want to ask him anything about his career or how they can draw the money that he drew. And so that should tell you the percentage of people that actually watch that kind of wrestling.
Yeah, a low percentage. Yeah. Don't get us wrong. There's definitely guys and girls that still watch a ton of stuff and are always asking questions or asking for recommendations. There's a ton, but if you consider the amount of talent under contract at this time, it's a very small percentage.
Well, your WWE tenure may have had some artistic triumphs and some relationshipal failures as well, with being able to translate what was going on with you guys to Vince. But over the past few years, like we talked about, the fans have started talking about the guys formerly known as the Revival, FTR, they're the best tag team in the business. That's been being said for a while now by me and by fans. And one particular other team on the current landscape took exception to that. And everybody's been thinking this has been some kind of big, oh, these guys want to work together. Oh, these guys want to do an angle together. These two little pipsqueaks, I'm talking about Road Warrior Buck and Balding Buck, otherwise known as the Young Bucks, they started this whole FTR thing as fuck the Revival without your knowledge or consent or getting together with you guys like they say I try to do with them. Oh, he wants to work with us. Well, they were trying to latch off of you guys' popularity and success, and you didn't know anything about it. And from what I understand, you didn't really appreciate it either.
Oh, you've heard of those guys before? I didn't know you knew who they were.
Well, I've had a passing relationship with them. Often, I feel like there's something I've passed in one of my bowel movements every once in a while. But go ahead.
So with those guys, I think Cash feels the same way. But with those guys, I think that there was some kind of professional jealousy, only because for so long, all the internet fans and Dave Meltzer, they always raved gave these guys rave reviews. They're the greatest tag team in the world. There's nobody that comes close to them. They're the best. And then all of a sudden, here comes two 5'10" North Carolina guys who, by the way, can fight in real life. And we've gotten multiple fights in real life and got multiple trouble with the cop because of fighting. But needless to say, here come two 5'10" North Carolina guys. And the wrestling world is kind of like, wait a second. That's how tag team wrestling is supposed to be done. It's not these like flying around, flipping around.
Cirque de Bullshit in a wrestling ring is not what the whole concept is about. Yes.
Yeah. It's You put it a lot more eloquently than I do, baby, because you hate them a little more.
Well, feel free to use it. I don't know now. We've talked off air. I don't know whether I could actually say, because I don't really have anything personal against them. I'm just offended at the concept of them. But I think you guys have more personal shit against them.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing is, it's not, we have no professional qualms with them or jealousy towards them, but it did bother us that in 2016, they never came to us and asked us, hey, is this okay if we do this? They just out of the blue started saying it.
Well, I think that's because when you say it on an internet show without the consent of the person, there's no fear of retaliation. You don't have to worry about getting punched in the mouth by the person you're saying it about, because you can hide that. You get the anonymity of hiding behind social media or the internet or your phone screen. So
they didn't think that they were ever going to have to coexist and occupy the same place as you guys, because they knew they were never going to get signed by the WWE. And also they'd be so controlled that they couldn't say boo to a goose if they did. And I'm just wondering if, as of late, when they've become these big vice presidents, if they've realized that, oh shit, we have opened ourselves up, because now we started running our mouth and we started plugging a match that we thought was never going to happen. But as they've seen over the last few weeks, at least, this thing could happen.
I think, honestly, that they think in their minds, oh, these guys will take it as a work. They won't get upset with us, but that's not the case. Like before I'm a professional wrestler, before I'm a bad guy, or before I'm any of this bullshit, I'm a man, both me and Cash, we're men. I have a family that I got to provide for. And when I don't know, it doesn't sit very, I don't know if this is my North Carolina roots or whatever, but it doesn't sit very well with me when out of nowhere you say some things without fear of a receipt coming. And so that's the thing. I think that they just believe in their indie-centric mind that, oh, these guys are just going to work. They're just going to work with us. But I'm still I harbor some pretty heavy feelings towards those guys for the things that we heard.
But there's some people out there going, well, they're not going to commit, felonious assault or, aggravated mayhem or whatever. By the way, those are actual charges, folks. I can testify to that, as I'm sure you guys can also. But at the same time, here's what they're used to. They're used to their little romper room playset mindset of they're play friends. They're kids that hang out and play together, and a lot of them have been friends since they were in school that are now signed to this wrestling company. And they think that it's just always that way. And the little indie shows where everybody gets the chance to do their own gymnastics and help the other guy on the trampoline and all that stuff. You guys are coming from a completely different mindset of wrestling. Now, I'm sure, to quote an expression, you can do it the easy way or the hard way, but do they actually, honest to God, think that you guys are going to go do this Cirque du bullshit, flippy stuff around, and or get a football line drawn on you by a line marker up from your crotch to your nose, or you're going to change clothes in the ice machine? Do you think they honestly believe that you guys are going to do any of that shit, and that there might not be just one of those Ernie Ladd moments where he just slow the motherfucker down, hold him in the corner, and tell him do this way, and nobody's going to get hurt?
I'm not sure which one of those thoughts actually crossed their mind. They probably think we can all like laugh it off and be buddy, but it's not going to be that easy for me to just kind of let it roll off my back like a duck in the water. No, I got some hard feelings about it still that I'd love to deal with face to face.
The tag team roster, I don't mean to interrupt, but without, everybody's been talking about you and the Bucks for quite some time now. But at the same time, their tag team roster, and Brian, I've talked to Brian about this, they've got athletes there that could be put in positions where they could be proper tag teams and legitimate tag teams, and tag teams could be pushed there. But the problem is, a lot of those guys are in the same mindset, and they're out there doing their fandango dancing and everything. And I don't really see anybody, except, to be honest, my old friends Kazarian and Chris Daniels, that could stand up to you guys physically if you wanted to impose your will on somebody to get your way. Who's going to fucking whip you? Marco Stunted Growth and Jungle Boy at a combined weight of 16.5 pounds. Or, the Private Party, I see that Mark Quinn, and he's an amazing athlete. And he's the kind of guy I would have loved to have had in OVW, for a couple of years, and you'd have a superstar. But I don't see a wide variety of people there that can give you guys, actually, in any competition, a physical challenge, etc., except the Young Bucks. So point is, did you guys get a long-term contract? Because once you spend 2 weeks knocking the Bucks off, what else you got to do? You're just going to have to sit back and have a cigar.
Well, that's kind of the interesting thing. Yeah. That's the interesting question. So I don't know. You go ahead, Dax, on that one.
All right. So real quick to back up for just a second. As far as like the Bucks and the jokes and stuff like that, I think to them, honestly, in the back of their mind, it was just a ha-ha fun, and that's okay to have ha-ha fun. But, and me and Cash, we kind of took it as that, whatever. And we never responded to those guys because why do we want to give them attention? But, there was a point where Cody Rhodes, who is a best friend of the Bucks, he went on Sam Roberts' podcast, and Sam Roberts said, who do you honestly think is the best tag team in the world? FTR or the Young Bucks? And Cody said, 100% I believe it's the Young Bucks. And Sam said, why do you believe that? Yeah. And Cody said, well, the Revival, they're a great tag team. He said, but they go in and they practice their matches for weeks at a time at the PC before they have them. And that got me, it pissed me off so much. And I'm getting real hot right now talking about it because, one, he's trying to shit on our legacy. And I've never in 15 years, not once have I ever practiced a wrestling match. So with him saying that, I felt like he was trying to tarnish and taint what we had built up. And so that's what really pissed me off is they took it from something that was ha-ha funny to making it personal. And that's what bothered me.
Do you mind if I hop in and do a little promo for you? Because Cody, better than anybody because of who his father is, knows that not only that is not true, but also that that's an insult. Because a lot of people are sitting out there going, Well, why would that be an insult? Don't all those wrestlers practice and follow the script? I used to fine people in promotions I was responsible for if they used the word script, by the way. But to people who are in the wrestling business, who take pride in that and who consider themselves wrestlers, it's even in today's day and age, for those of who are like-minded like that, it's an insult to say that you practice your matches. That's like you're a dancer doing a routine on Broadway. You practice it. You guys practice as a team because your teamwork is flawless, but obviously so does every baseball, football, and basketball team practice as a team. But to say that you have to practice this like it's a paint by numbers routine instead of what you guys do, which is the art of tag team wrestling, is an insult that I don't think the import of that registers with a lot of the modern fans these days of how insulting that is.
That's why it didn't sit well with us at all, and it still doesn't, because, like, for instance, between Brooklyn and Toronto, the two DIY matches that people like to talk about like a lot, like, Dax had his knee scoped out, so he didn't wrestle for 8 weeks in between. Like, we didn't do the Dusty Classic. We had to do a couple of different things, like storyline wise, to excuse it. I don't think it ever even got out there that he had his knee scoped. It was just like a simple clean out, but you can't do anything on it for 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So they didn't clear him. For NXT Toronto until that Thursday. That was we had a 6-man tag at the Madison Square Garden, like the side arena, and we tagged with I want to say Samoa Joe maybe, or maybe Samoa against like DIY and Shinsuke. I believe that was the match, and that was the first match back in 2 months. And then we had the same match the next night. No, we went to Toronto the next night, so we had the one.
The point is, you don't even have to justify it, because Cody was trying to get under your guy's skin and defend his co-vice presidents. I understand what was going on there, but in actuality, here's something. Just the gall, as Jackie Fargo once said, the gall of you to Jimmy Hart. He thinks that the Young Bucks don't practice that. I mean, I know sometimes it looks like they need more practice, but that multiple cartwheel, moonsault, backflip, handspring, diving over, catch this guy, where it looks like it's a cross between Western swing dancing and a goddamn Olga Corbett gymnastics floor routine, and they don't practice that?
So I think, just like you said,
on the fly, brother.
Friends, that's his buddies. And to me, when we heard that, we felt that that's what Nick and Matt thought. They felt the same way, that we just practiced our matches and we're not as good as them. So, whether they believe that or not, they got the residual heat from what Cody said. And that's the thing that bothers us. Now, the funny part that, Cash was going to allow me to explain about signing, I'll let you go ahead, Cash. You can tell this. I've talked enough.
Well, and here's what I was going to ask you one question to bring it up, because what is your relationship with Tony Khan? Because does he know that y'all are about to punk out, pick up, turn upside down, and shake for pocket change and potentially embarrass 2 of his 4 highly prized executive vice presidents? What's Tony Khan think about this? Does he realize what he's signed here and when he signed FTR?
So, well, that's kind of the thing. So we're negotiating still. We have a short-term, almost handshake deal, because they want to get this thing done finally, because it's been talked about for so many years. So we're not under any long-term obligation to anybody. So that's
there's no way.
So they.
That's a nice little caveat for you.
Well, it is backfired on some promoters in the past when they debuted someone on television without an ironclad. But I'll tell you what, here's the one time I wish I was your manager in AEW, guys, and I'll tell you why. Because if I found out that you were on that television program and you had not officially put ink on paper and had it notarized by somebody, nominated to do so by the government, I would have told you, instead of fucking around with the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker, you should have just punted both bucks between the uprights and the balls and snotted on them and walked off. But that would have deprived probably not only a lot of people of seeing what they wanted to see, but also it would have deprived a lot of you guys of a lot of pleasure, because I'm sure you want it to last a little bit longer than that when you finally get your hands on them.
Plus, their balls need to drop first.
But yeah, that's a trick. You might not be able to find them. They're so tiny. Could even you guys hit a subject, a target that small. But anyway, so you're still working this out, but he's got to realize that, because I can see, talk about politicking. We talked about earlier in a drive-through show that we taped earlier, where Spivey accused the Road Warriors of politicking. That's why the skyscrapers didn't get over. I can see these guys starting to politic to Tony Khan, say, well, now, you want to make sure you keep an eye on them, and they might go into business for themselves, and we can't have too much of this wrestling on our wrestling program. Well, that's what I'm saying. Are you guys, do you think you can get away with getting away with it if you do what you need to do to get over on this guy's television program, in spite of his, he needs somebody to go in on his television show and get over in spite of all the rest of them. Are you those guys?
So here's the thing. Yeah, absolutely. But first and foremost, Tony has been great to us. He has trusted us, and he's got trust in us, full trust, which is probably why he's allowing us to appear on these handshake deals. And me and Cash, we are men of our words, as we said earlier. But he's been great to us, and he's a huge fan of the wrestling business, and more importantly, at least to us and our pocketbooks, he's a fan of ours because he loved the Mid-South stuff. But I think he really believes that with myself and Cash, he really believes that we are the guys who can get over. During this pandemic, he wants he wants us to get this match with the Bucks that everyone has been dreaming about for years and years and years, and he wants to be the first guy to get that match. The thing is,
we've been pretty. I was going to say, we've been very transparent with them that we're willing to work with these guys, but there's a very real possibility that it's not going to be pretty, and we're not going to respond well to some of the things they said before. And he knows this.
Well, and also he also knows, does he not know that the whole thing that makes you different is, see, this is where he's going to have to be a businessman instead of a friend. He may have these guys over here going, Tony, they're being rough with us, or Tony, this is the way we got to do, German suplexes down the football field. That's the way. But he's got to realize that he has an opportunity at a major attraction here, and especially if you guys are you. And I don't see a lot of willingness. And you guys have turned down more money than a lot of people will see in a lifetime from the WWE to go out and do your thing and prove that you guys can be the people that you have purported to be all along. And you're not going to let these two twerps get in your way. And I think he better realize that guys motivated like you that can go out on a national television show and perform at a high level and are driven to get over are going to do so. And it's going to be better for his business. Even if you have to slap a few people, it's going to be better for his business than a bunch of guys jacking off and playing with their high school friends in the previous segment. And I think that's what he's got an opportunity here. And I think you guys are going to give him something if he's smart enough to see it. And I sincerely hope, actually, I don't. I hope the Young Bucks don't agree with that too. I hope the Young Bucks get frisky with you. I really do. I can't wait to see that.
It might be their first fight they've ever had.
It might be the last one too. That's what Jerry Lawler said. Jerry Lawler said one time in 1978, said, when you and me get in a fight, there's going to be two things hit. Me hits you and you hit the floor.
Yeah.
So I think Tony is very aware of those things you said. I think he knows, and I think he welcomes it. He seems very excited about the possibility that. Yeah, he seems very excited about the possibility that things could get real ugly real quick. And if he's willing to do these deals that he's kind of put in place right now, then I have that. To me, that's the green light to do whatever we need to do.
Well, here, go ahead.
And we're in saying that about the contract status and stuff. we're not against signing with Tony. I mean, that's a huge possibility, but there's so much stuff we want to do in wrestling, and so many guys we want to test our skills against around the world. So we're not against, and we haven't shut out the idea of signing with Tony. But I don't think that he'd be too happy with us if we had signed a contract and then came on your show, though.
Well, I don't know.
For whatever reason, yeah.
Let's see, Tony. Here, we've just signed these guys, and they're going to be big stars for us. But they want to do one of two things: they either want to go on Cornette's podcast, or they want to beat the teetotal snot out of your vice presidents. He'd probably let you just do the podcast. But anyway, here's another thing I was going to ask.
We want to do two of two things.
Well, I know, but he's got to authorize at least one. Here's another thing I'm going to ask you: this makeshift set of tag team champions they've got that are as similar as a lesbian nun and an albino pygmy. They've never been a team before. Adam Page and Kenny Olivier, they've never been a team before. They somehow in storyline put them together, and they've, one guy's I love Adam Page as an athlete. He's blocked me on Twitter. I've hurt his feelings some kind of way, but I've said a lot more nice things about him I have about most of them. But he's got a ton of potential. Olivier, we all know what's going on there. He's a thespian. But they're the tag team champions. I see you guys going in there, and if you get a match with them, that not taking very long, because you guys are going to thump both of them. Page is either going to be drunk and disinterested, or if you break Omega's fingers, chances are that's the best part of his repertoire in the ring, is the gesticulating and the finger pointing. So then you'd be in a position where the Young Bucks got to chase you guys to get their own company's tag team title. That would interest the cockles of my heart.
Yeah. I think, though, first things first, we need to get past, the Bucks, get that out of the way. But as smart as, Tony is, and as and he is a great guy, I think he is way too smart to give us an opportunity at the tag team belts, and while we're not under contract.
I didn't mean tomorrow afternoon at 2:00. And I'm certainly, he's a billionaire. He can come up with the Bucks. I think the Bucks, no pun intended. I think he's going to get you signed, because he knows they desperately need you guys. They need you guys like a fucking sick man needs penicillin. So he's going to get that deal done. And I think what they ought to do, maybe they ought to run a doubleheader. They ought to, like the old days in Mid-South. Sunday afternoon, 2:00 at the Pine Bluff Civic Center. You spend about 5 to 7 minutes knocking off Page and Olivier for the tag team title. Then you go on up the road to Little Rock that night, have the main event, slap the Bucks around for 20 minutes or so, beat them, and then you can call it a good night. And you can go back to the Holiday Inn in Little Rock there at the airport, where sweet, sweet Connie is still doing her act.
And the only thing that would make that better is if you were there with us.
Well, I can get to Little Rock. It's a decent drive. I could get there. See if
we need you riding around with us.
Well, and shotgun with us.
That's the thing. If you tell Tony Khan, Cornette will come and be in our corner and dress your show up as long as it's close as Little Rock. And Connie comes with it, but no, I'll do anything between Little Rock and Pittsburgh as long as you get to beat both those teams in one day and prove your dominance, and then we can start trying to find some tag teams from around the world to sign to give you guys a good fight.
You just broke the internet. I hope you know that.
Hey, let me ask something, because the Road Warriors, Buck and Skullet, they have this little internet show they do where they do like little comedy skits and everything. Are we going to see you guys on there doing little comedy skits with them?
If I were you and I enjoyed living, I wouldn't hold my breath waiting for it.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, now, not in the immediate future.
Can you promise us that you will not be teleported anywhere, disappear, or be murdered and come back to life?
Well, I can't die. Period. We can't die.
There you go.
Nobody can kill us. Nobody can take us. But that'll come with the contract negotiations when we tell Tony, what we believe in, and things like that.
Well, that is a good negotiating tactic also. You stand firm on the fact that you will not engage in any teleportation under the term of the contract.
We're having in writing.
Oh, guys, I tell you what, in all seriousness, we could go on all day, and we already have. But if anything could make me excited to see anything about that particular company, it's you guys beating the teetotal piss out of everybody on the roster. Male, female, babyface, heel, animal, vegetable, mineral. Kick Cody's dog's ass. Take Pharaoh out. And that's the one time I'd want to see somebody kick a dog. Just beat them all up and straighten them out and try to bring some normalcy. Because this company is, AEW is, the last time in our generation that we're currently in now, and for somebody in my age group, this is the shot for anybody to present a successful major league alternative to the WWE. And that's the reason why that I've been expressing such consternation about them since the start of it, because I felt like they're blowing it with some of the talent choices they've made and the things that they've presented that are so wacky and unbelievable. It makes wacky races look like goddamn Le Mans. But you guys can change that because you're serious, and you can be taken as serious because you take yourself seriously and you conduct your business seriously and you perform at a high level, and you can actually do what you say you can, which is kick people's ass. We have seen it in a variety of scripted and unscripted incidents. So we need more of you guys on that fucking show is what I'm trying to say. So if anything makes me happy about it, it's seeing you guys there.
Well, thank you. That means a lot.
Yeah, and when we talked about leaving WWE and the possibility of joining AEW or any of the other promotions around the world, it was because we wanted to make professional wrestling bigger than it's ever been. And I'm not saying that we are the big stars to do that, and I'm not saying that we have the clout to do that, but if we can help do that, if we can help make professional wrestling and give more jobs to the boys for years to come, then we've done what we set out to do.
You guys want to be part of the people that are building the pyramid rather than the invading forces that came and tore part of it down. And that's what wrestling was built on. And I think you guys have the right idea.
We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about how much AEW has made life better for all the talent since they've been announced. Like it's impossible to deny that fact. And coming from like where we came from, and I'm going to say this, I don't mean this in any negative fashion. I don't want to sound bitter or like I'm whining or complaining, but it was a place that you're not going to get to take a lot of risk. You're not going to get a lot of creative input, and you're not going to get to try new things to see if it works and what works and what doesn't. Like some things are going to fall flat on their face, and that's okay as long as you try it. And now you know. So at least there's a place now where there's another opportunity for work, and there's another opportunity to try things. And if it doesn't work, scratch it off the list and move on to the next thing and see what does. But at least they're willing to try shit. Because man, like it was hard knowing that you were going to go to work and it was going to be the safest, most sterilized version of what you were going to ever be able to do. And now we have some spontaneity in the business again. And that's beautiful.
We have the platform to try something.
Instead of being homogenized, sanitized, pasteurized, and bleached for your protection, and all the passion and emotion goes along with it. Brian, have you got any follow-ups?
No, I guess just once again, congratulations on being free of the WWE. And I, like so many others, am really looking forward to seeing what you guys do now that you are free and have a chance to really express yourself finally.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, thank you.
Hopefully we can come back on the show.
Well, I'm pretty sure if you sign all the way, we need to start the campaign now. Said Tony Khan doesn't have any hair on his balls if they sign the Revival the FTR exclusively, and they can never do Cornette's show again. But that's
maybe we'll put that in our contract.
But here's the thing:
that if we knock out the Young Bucks, we have free reign to come on here and tell you all about it.
Well, yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. Give them one for me.
If you knock out the Young Bucks, we will supply you with the lawyer who will defend you.
Yes,
we'll negotiate that in.
We do have an attorney on staff, but that's the thing is go shake the thing up because that's what it needs, and not in a wacky fun way, but in a serious emotional way. And I think that's what your guys' strength is. And it'll be interesting to see who the first one is that decides that he wants to be all just slap happy and ends up getting slapped and he ain't happy about it.
Line him up, bring him on.
Yeah, we ain't scared.
That's a great closing line. We ain't scared. Well, they ought to be. Folks, FTR is coming, and I'm still not going to watch the whole show, but if you're on it, I'll watch the part you're in. How's that? We'll make that promise for the listeners, because I've already got people begging me, please don't stop watching it.
Be sure to watch it. Sit down with Shivani coming up. That's going to be a fun one for you, I think.
Oh, my God.
Like what we have to say.
Well, just the fact that when you sat down with Shivani, did it reveal he wasn't wearing long pants? Did Tony dress all the way up for you? He used to do that. That was his gimmick in Charlotte in Crockett's office on the interview day when we'd be doing interviews for 9 hours. He'd have a shirt, a tie, a jacket, and a pair of gym shorts and flip-flops because the camera, Jackie Crockett never shot below his waist.
Well,
he should put his pants on for you guys.
He did. He put on real pants last time we saw him. So I'm hoping if we're doing a sit down with him, he's gonna have on real pants again.
Let us know next week. Send in an anonymous message whether Tony Schiavone had his pants on. All right.
Oh, I won't make it anonymous. I'll just get a picture and send it to you.
Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, FTR, whatever it means to you, it means a lot of things to them, and they are the best tag team in professional wrestling today. And another one of those teams that was vying for that crown is going to find that out real quick.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Fuck the rest, Jim.
Well, there it is, Jim, our discussion with the best tag team in wrestling today, FTR, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler. And, of course, we very much look forward to seeing what's going to happen in the future for those guys. What a great tag team.
I very much look forward to seeing them just kick each and every one of those kids in the balls. Just look them right in the face and kick them right in the balls. And no teleportation either.
We can only hope.
I got faith in these guys. We won't see footage of them and the Invisible Man, and they won't be changing clothes in ice machines. And I have a feeling that some of these other guys are going to get their feelings hurt real quick. And I love seeing these guys get their feelings hurt. Anyway, FTR. You know what that could stand for? Fuck the rest. And that's what you should be saying. Fuck the rest of the tag teams and fuck the rest of the podcast. You get all you need right here. And this has been another one. Of all the podcasts we've ever done, this has certainly been the most recent. And next week, we're going to do it all over again. We don't know what we're going to do next week, but it's going to be something, and you're going to want to hear it. Until then, don't you dare buy anything from me at my unnamed website. Don't you dare subscribe to our YouTube channel. That all you have to do is type in official Jim Cornette and it'll pop right up on YouTube. Do not, under any circumstances, take part in our Patreon where you can get all the past shows, the experiences and the drive-thrus. We're adding new ones just literally regularly on a constant basis. Hours and hours and hours of entertainment for a pittance. We don't dare want you to sign up to that. How do they do that?
Patreon.com/Cornette.
Yeah, don't do that.
Put that address out of your mind right now.
Don't you dare do that. You'll learn something. And until next week, did I miss anything? Good. No. You had your chance. You blew it.
You missed AEW this week.
Well, no, I didn't miss. I didn't see it, but I didn't miss it. Until next week, folks, thank you. Fuck you. Bye-bye, everybody.